evening. We'd like to welcome all of you to the evening portion of our February 23rd board meeting. Earlier, we had a workshop on field rates, and we will do a quick review of that. And then we went into closed session and dealt with labor negotiations and district employee issues. No decisions were made. So at this point, we would like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mrs. Hill, would you like to lead us?
It'd be an honor.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we'll have an executive summary now of our workshop. Mrs. Galicia.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This evening, Mr. C.J. Nolan, Director of Facilities, Maintenance, and Operations, presented a workshop on our continued work on establishing facility use rates. This workshop was number 4. During previous workshops, number 1 through 3, the board selected user groups. Now we begin the discussion on establishing rates. In today's workshop, we discussed the district's current rates and compared them with Orange County rates, average rates, as well as compare them with our current costs, actual costs. Questions to consider as we move forward in establishing these rates is, how do we want to bridge the gap between our current rate and our actual cost? Do we want to apply a sliding scale percentage by user groups? Do we want to incrementally increase our rates over time? And how do we want to provide discounts for youth-focused activities? We will continue to have workshops in discussing these rates, and additional information will be provided to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Galicia. That was excellent. We now move to reports and recognitions, beginning with the board president's report. The clicker. Oh, there. Thank you. Okay. Tonight's president's report focuses on La Salle at Home, our distance learning program that is an outgrowth from the pandemic. It serves our students whose families wish their students to learn from home rather than return to the campus at this time. Currently, we have 2,233 students enrolled in this program, with over 1,000 in our TK5 program and nearly 1,200 at our secondary level. Tonight's presentation puts a focus on student engagement at both levels, beginning with elementary. Overseeing the TK program is Mr. Richard Larson, who's done an amazing job of reaching out to online students every single school day, beginning with morning announcements that are full of student-led activities and special recognition of students themselves. Mr. Larson is currently taking students on an adventurous tour of the United States, highlighting one state every day. Once the 50 states have all been visited, Mr. Larson will lead students around the world as they experience diverse cultures and share fun places to visit. The Pledge of Allegiance is led by a different student every day by way of a video submitted by that child. At this point, with 180 submissions, it appears the rest of the year is completely covered. Every Monday, Mr. Larson does a joyful birthday call out for all students celebrating birthdays that week. A for the Day highlights 2 to 4 students across the grades who are exhibiting scholarly traits in the classroom, including values of acceptance, ambition, attitude, academics, and accountability. Mr. Larson shares a special message from each of their teachers. An email, certificate, and a video link to the presentation are shared with families. Up to this point, over 260 students have been nominated. We congratulate and honor each and every one of them. As part of morning activities, students have the opportunities to express gratitude using Flipgrid. Over 300 videos have been submitted that celebrate parents, classmates, and other treasured individuals in their lives. Now I'd like to share a quick 2-minute video that highlights a portion of one of these announcements. Now, in the announcement, a precious young man, Caden, leads the Pledge of Allegiance. So usually I wouldn't know whether I should stand. We've done the pledge, so let's all stay seated because you want to experience this young man's patriotism and his confidence.
Good morning, Los Al at home. It's so good to see you today on this beautiful Thursday morning. We are now in Wisconsin. That's right. This is a place where a lot of the dairy and cheese comes from in our country. It's super exciting to show you a couple of the wonderful state parks and a university if we get a chance. We also have an action-packed Inauguration Day special coming up for you right after the break. But first, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance with my friend Caden Lee. Take it away, Caden.
Good morning. My name is Kaden. Please stand, take all your caps and hoodies off. Place your right hand over the heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a good day, scholars.
Thanks so much, Caden, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You did a great job, young man. And now it's time for A for Today. This student has been nominated in all 5 areas and is really doing the hard work that it takes to be a great scholar. Are you ready to find out who I'm talking about? Well, it is Olivia Ariate. Way to go, Olivia. Let's see what makes you stand out. Olivia is an absolute joy to have in class. She is always punctual and eagerly participates in all classroom learning. Her work is completed thoroughly and turned in on time, and she has a positive attitude that makes everyone happy. Olivia loves to share her ideas and personal connections to our learning, and she is not afraid to ask for help or offer help to anyone in need. She loves to share jokes with us and always laughs at my jokes, even when they aren't that funny. I love coming to class every day and seeing her beautiful smile. Her enthusiasm for learning helps make our class so much fun. Way to go, Olivia. There you have it, Los Al. Remember, listen to your teacher, follow instructions from your parents, take a risk, and I'll see you online. Bye.
So this was just a portion. This was about 2 minutes long. A normal announcement is 6 minutes of pure joy, absolute celebration with the kids involved in all of it. It's incredibly impressive. Plus, I'm getting a look at the United States that I never had before. So I'm appreciative as a learner too. Okay. Moving on to the secondary level, covering grades 6 through 12, Dr. Kenneth Lepore oversees this program. It mirrors the on-campus hybrid programs at the middle schools and high school, provides access to high school athletics, and strives to keep the 4 A's alive and strong for all of our students. Wellness Wednesdays provide biweekly social emotional support for our students and families. There are clubs that include and engage Los Al at home students, and they're available at middle school and high school levels. The middle school celebrates students with monthly victory awards given by every teacher for excellent participation, academic achievement, and excellent character. Intervention programs are in place at all levels before, after, and during school to support academics and mental health. I really have to applaud the efforts of everyone involved to keep the connections, even though the kids are at home, keeping them connected with life on campus. Teachers, administrators, and staff have worked hard in challenging times to develop a strong distance learning program. We deeply appreciate all of their determination, innovation, and creativity. All of us look forward to a time very soon that will bring everyone back to the campus with a traditional learning program. However, I'm quite sure that through all of these challenges, teachers have learned about programs, strategies, and educational opportunities that will be worked into what they do in a traditional structure and will be used to enhance the grade instruction that would normally take place. Thank you so much, and that's my president's report. And we move on to Nico, who will do our students' report, which is always a celebration.
All right, hello everybody, and good evening, President Davidson, esteemed board members, Dr. Pulver, executive cabinet, and community members watching live. I hope you all had a great day so far, and let's get right into my report. Our cross-country team had another meet this weekend, and once again, they swept the competition in almost every single race. Also, our varsity athletes all ran their personal best times on this course. They competed against Laguna Hills at home, and 41 out of 41 out of 71, junior varsity athletes also had course personal records this race as well. And based on these last two major victories, you can probably tell all these runners were itching to get back out there. Some more good news in the world of sports. The newest announcement from our state governor says that outdoor sports games will be able to resume if COVID case numbers are under 14 out of 100,000. This will be supplemented by weekly testing of coaches and athletes, and hopefully soon I can present more of our sports team's victories besides cross country. Not that we love to hear about them, but it would be great to hear about some more too. So as I was preparing this presentation, I was thinking to myself, what's something new that I haven't talked about in my reports? And right as I was thinking that, my mom asks me, hey, have we bought you a yearbook this year yet? And there it was. So we've heard a lot about sports, activities, arts, and what academics look like right now, but we haven't heard that much about yearbook. I was especially curious and wondering how they were still putting together a yearbook this year, but where there is a will, there is a way. I spoke with Amanda Killian, a member of the yearbook team at LaSalle, to get some information on how they are adapting to the hybrid or at-home schedules. In a normal year, yearbook students would be walking around campus more frequently, but she tells me now that they are using new methods of outreach to get in touch and include those students who aren't on campus. The yearbook crew is utilizing social media platforms and other services such as Google Forms to get student submissions and opinions to give that yearbook the same personalized touch that it normally has. Amanda also tells me that they are altering the page spreads to include all students regardless of the at-home or hybrid school schedules. Like a lot of other things this year, this yearbook is going to be one for the books, no pun intended, but I am really excited to see what it's going to look like when they come out closer to the end of the year. And sports teams aren't the only ones getting some new guidelines. Our band and orchestra programs are able to begin in-person instruction, which they were not able to before. Students who play an instrument that requires them to blow air receive new personal protective equipment that allows for them to play safely in class. If you look at the top picture, you can see what some of that equipment looks like. The students have specialized face masks that cover their face but allow for them to play, and a cover on the opening of their instrument to provide some extra safety. The band and orchestra programs also received a huge new tent outdoors that gives some more space to practice as a group. These are all some great steps forward, and teachers and students alike are adapting to all these new guidelines, personal equipment, and tents, and moving along with their musical education, which is super important. Before I move on, I would also like to mention that if you look closely at the student in the top picture, you'll recognize that it's Santiago Lopez, our last student spotlight, and I just wanted to follow up and say that this past weekend, he won first place at the Adam Larson High School Jazz Competition, so congratulations to him. Our school's ASB has also been busy lately as well by decorating for the recent holidays. These are some pictures of the decorations that were put up for Valentine's Week. LaSalle ASB has never decorated for Valentine's Day, but there's a first for everything, and we thought it would be a cool way to spread the love because we get that times can be tough. We plan to do the same for St. Patrick's Day in case you all wanted to come by and visit and see what we have in store. And who knows, decorating for these holidays might even become a yearly tradition at LaSalle. We really are trying to find safe and fun ways to celebrate all the little things this year, and we hope it's working. Here's some more pictures from that Valentine's week, and as you can see, the trees were wrapped, the walls were postered, and love was in the air. And speaking of love, I have a feeling that you will all love our next student spotlight and her mouth-watering hobby. This week, I'm excited to introduce you all to Cielo Chirambulo. Cielo is a senior at LaSalle, and to be quite frank, she loves food. She loves food so much that she started a food Instagram account called Cielo Eats. And whether you love healthy smoothies and all things green, or maybe like some of us, guilty as charged, you've partaken in the occasional binge eat during the pandemic, you'll love this account. On her all-inclusive food account, Cielo invites anyone, whether they be a stranger or one of her closest friends, to send in pictures of their meals so she can share them with all her followers, which I have found to be very entertaining during the pandemic. As a big fan of food myself, I thought this was a great way to not only keep in touch with friends and their lives, but also a great use of social media to promote a healthy relationship with food. Cielo tells me that she started this account because she thought it would be super fun to share her meals on Instagram and have all her friends be a part of it as well. She also tells me that the whole account started with a chicken tostada, and from then on, it's been a huge hit. The account has over 400 posts submitted from students and friends of Cielo, And Cielo Eats, the account, actually just celebrated its 1-year anniversary this past February, and the birthday post featured a large donut cake and an interactive comment section where Cielo encouraged her followers to comment their favorite food. Mine was cheeseburgers, in case anyone was wondering. But Cielo really loves running this, what she calls a progressive food account, because it's original and there's nothing else like it out there. Here's some more pictures from the account, and as you can see, the 1-year anniversary donut cake and the infamous chicken tostada that started it all. In this past year, I've sent in many different meals, and I've grown quite fond of this account myself. So when it hit me that we were graduating this year, my first thought was, what's going to happen to Cielo Eats? But she assured me that she plans on continuing the account so long as her friends continue to send in pictures during college. And speaking of college, Cielo is happy to report that she's been admitted to Virginia Tech and is eagerly waiting on the UC and Cal State decisions when they come. What I really love about this account is that Cielo preaches food positivity and shows all her followers that having a healthy relationship with food doesn't always mean you have to have a relationship with strictly healthy food. It's okay to treat yourself sometimes. Now, before I make myself any hungrier, I'm going to stop talking, but I'd love to give a huge congratulations to Cielo for all her hard work with this account. Hats off to her. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.
Thank you so much, Nico. We always love Nico's presentations, and we're hoping that his special part where he acknowledges a student is continued by whoever takes his place next year. You need to push for that. It's outstanding. And the donut birthday cake, I think I'm going to try it. Thank you. So now we move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Pulver.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board. It's always a highlight to listen to Nico and the different student that's going to be highlighted. So thank you for that wonderful tradition. We also had the pleasure, a few of us who were doing a walkthrough, to be able to visit Nico's class and see him in person on the classroom. So, which brings me actually to my first section of the report. Is with COVID and our hybrid schedules that have been going on at all of our school sites, we have had to limit the number of outside visitors, but we have had the opportunity to still continue to really see the magic and the just the passion that our teachers instill within our students each and every single day, and what a difference, whether we're providing education through our virtual learning, which Mrs. Davidson shared through our Low Salad Home program, or whether it be through our in-person. And so I've been, probably one of the highlights as superintendent has been able to, particularly I think sometimes during this time, we learn to appreciate the little things even more. And the simple thing of being able to walk into our classrooms and to see the dedication that our teachers, that our custodians, that our support staff are providing is just awe-inspiring. So we've been able to visit many of all of our school sites, and I know the board members have been able to join as well, and we're continuing to schedule those, even touring the auxiliary. One of the things that I'm just so impressed with, sometimes you would think, if you look, and I wish, and what I love is our school presentations. So we've had a few already. We've had 3, Oak, I believe it was Lee and Hopkinson, I believe, have already had their school presentation. Tonight is LAE's. And for families, if you don't get to see what's going on in the classroom, yeah, it just is awe-inspiring. Even just today when we were doing a walkthrough at Weaver, but this was true of all of the school sites that I've been able to be at. You should see the rich learning that is going on and being exhibited on our bulletin boards. And I cannot thank our teachers enough for their attention to their craft. You might think, oh, we're in hybrid setting. They're only here for just under 3 hours. We're not necessarily having an open house. We don't necessarily need to update our bulletin boards. But the student pride in their work and the celebration of all the hard work that our students are doing is so evident, and it is just amazing to see when you walk into our classrooms. So I've certainly been fortunate for that. What I love too is some of the lessons that we've been able to hear about or to see is not just on the academic aspect, but really the social emotional. So I'm going to share one of the school sites, and they said both the Low Salad Home teachers at the school site as well as the teachers in the hybrid setting created this lesson, something very simple and yet very powerful. And it was just a writing prompt that said, "I wish my teacher knew." And the students were asked to write to respond. Sometimes it can be hard to talk about the things we feel, the things we need, or the things that are going on in our lives. Below, simply type what you wish, and remember that only I will be reading this. This is the teacher to the student. And what a great time in the middle of the year. Now, of course, I wasn't told what any of the stories were, but our teachers have shared with me how moved they were, some to tears, some to laughter, some to joy, about what our students reached out. And I think sometimes just simply asking, how are we doing? I wish someone knew this about me. It just gives a voice to students. And so it's just, I think it also another way that our teachers can connect with students moving forward. In our walkthroughs as well, Nico has shared one of our student highlights was one of our students who wrote their own book, and it's sold on Amazon. And so Mr. Farhan and I purchased them, and I know other people did as well, but we actually brought our book when we toured the high school this week, and we had the student autograph the book. And I know Mr. Farhan has used that book as well of many classroom readings as well. And then we learned about some of our other students who've written stories as well as we were sharing it. So just really exciting. The other thing that we've been able to do, oops, I'm going backwards. I'm not used to this presentation. Is as something I've shared about earlier on in the fall, as we had opened up our schools. Many districts across the state had reached out, taken a look at our plan, visiting with us either over Zoom, Q&A. We just last week, I believe it was, Long Beach Unified has reached out. And we scheduled an opportunity for them to come and take a look at our elementary school. They really wanted to learn some of the best practices and lessons learned as schools as they are preparing to open up their schools, at least their elementary schools, by the end of March. And I know they've reached out to a few other districts. So we're happy to be able to oblige and support our fellow colleagues throughout the state. The other thing that I think is probably you can't go anywhere on the news or anything is to hear about the COVID vaccine and the priority given within the education sector. So this has certainly been a large interest for all of us, including our staff, about when will they be able to. As I think this is my second update to the board regarding this. We ended up having Orange County superintendents that were asked to have an impromptu meeting, urgent meeting on Monday, with some recent changes, which really I think will streamline the process once the vaccines become available for educators. So the Orange County Healthcare Agency really is partnering with the Department of Education here in Orange County to help deploy the vaccine for county educators. We are creating educator-specific pod vaccination sites, which will be just for educators. They can also go to their own doctor, the Rite Aid, et cetera. But if they want to be able to not have to deal with all of that other traffic, right now the current pod point of distribution center is opened up in Garden Grove. It opened up February 18th. The state first prioritized in the county those 65 and older and a select individuals who they say qualified under Phase 1A. So on February 18th, we were providing for those educators that fall within that category. And to the positive news to all of us, on Monday, we were told just yesterday that actually Phase 1B, which is the education, childcare, food, and agriculture sector, the vaccine process is now opened up to all of them. And 30% of new COVID vaccine shipments will be allocated for education and childcare. So it doesn't mean it'll still take a few weeks to months to get our education sector vaccinated to those who wish to be vaccinated. Our goal is to make sure that everyone has access through that. And so we will be scheduling opportunities if they choose to get vaccinated in the education pod to go ahead and schedule those appointments outside of normal working hours, including weekends. But they'll also be able to receive any other locations where vaccine under the qualification of being a school educator. And so one of the things that the county is trying to do is to streamline the process is that they will, for those educators who want to use the education-specific pods, basically if they're 65 years or older, and they already met the criteria for Phase 1A, we already sent them a link and tried to get them to register. The county will be finishing that process this week and opening it up March 1st, all other educators. But for those of us who are under 65 and have not yet registered through the Athena app, on Friday, we were told the county is going to send me an email that then I can share with all staff where they can register through the Athena app through a private link, which is just for the locations where education sectors will be opening up. And then if they've already created an account through Athena, then they'll have to use an alternate email address. And if they're a school employee who's already secured a vaccination through various mechanisms, because some of ours have through Long Beach, if they live in Long Beach, et cetera, then there's no need to have to register through that district link. When they do go to the education pod, they'll need to bring a current paycheck stub showing employment within Orange County, a state driver's license or ID that shows their date of birth, and then obviously have a valid appointment through Athena. If they don't have all of that, they will be turned away, and nothing will be more frustrating than waiting in line for 40 minutes to an hour. Hopefully it's less since it's just gonna be focusing on educators. So they said, don't bring your mom or someone else. They can come with you, but they won't have access to the vaccine through the education pods. And then, as Nico actually shared, the California Department of Public Health, which is the guidance that we fall under, has just issued, as of last Friday, new outdoor and indoor youth and recreational adult sports, which I believe Nico had shared that certain things can occur when the case rates reach a certain threshold. I believe we've reached that threshold today. I was just pulling up the email from the county that we get on Tuesdays, which I have not sent to all of you yet, but I will summarize that for you by tomorrow. But the current Orange County case rate is now 11.9 per 100,000, and I think it had to be below 14, is that correct? So they can now begin some of those activities, and the testing positivity rate is below 5.4. So the guidance does take effect while it was issued last Friday. They want to give some pause, so it'll take effect February 26th. It applies to all organized youth sports and recreation, including school and community, club, privately held leagues, and adult recreational, but not professional sports. They do classify the levels of contact transmission rate to low contact, moderate contact, and high contact. We've certainly seen that. And I won't go over all the documents, but I do really want to thank our Ed Services team and our team at the high school and our coaches who've really just attention to detail all of the requirements and trying to make this an opportunity for our students and our athletes. So the conditions outline various conditions where face coverings are required, physical distancing, having an informed consent before. Some of the sports, due to the nature of their contact, do require student testing on a weekly basis. And in partnership with Dr. Fraser, who he's tried to organize testing for our staff, we'll be able to organize that for our families should they want to be able to use a system here. Hygiene and equipment sanitation, the mixing of participants, there will be limitations on observers, limitations of inter-team competitions, how many teams they can compete against in a single day, so then therefore limits on tournaments, travel considerations, and more. But our athletic director, Mr. Smith, our coaches, our assistant principals, and principal at Los Alamitos High School, Mrs. Reed and Mrs. Davis, really have made this a priority. As soon as the guidance was issued on Friday, they spent much of the weekend scouring through it and had early meetings on Monday to really make this an opportunity for our athletes. So we're excited about that, all within the guidelines. And then another question that often I'm asked, particularly at this time of the year, is do we have a calendar for next year? Because we have always traditionally tried to be able to have both the current year and 2 years worth of our school calendars set for our families, at least the start date and the end date, because we know that families need to plan ahead. And of course, last year, we made changes to our calendar right towards the end of the summer, putting a later start. But if you do look on our website, and I put the link right there, that is where we do have our calendars. And I thought I would just highlight, in case people haven't paid attention or seen it there, or even know to look there, that we have had our calendar for next school year up on our calendar since last May. And so for all schools except Weaver, remember this year Weaver even went to our new calendar just for the COVID calendar, I guess, for lack of a better word. But the first day of school for our students, other than for those that attend Weaver Elementary, is August 16th. We negotiated our calendar with our employees, and they did want to have not such an early August start, more of a mid-August start. And so the first day of school will be August 16th for next school year, and the last day of school is June 10th. And then Weaver Elementary starts a little bit earlier because they still have a fall break. So they'll be starting August 4th, but they will all end on the same as all of our other schools, August 10th. I won't read all of these for you. They are on our website, but if you wanted to know when is Labor Day, when is a Thanksgiving break, when is winter break, when is President's Week, because we go back to our calendar next year that has a week off in February. It merges the 2 days of the President's Day and takes 3 days to have a full week off, and then spring break and Memorial Day. So for the schools that are all schools other than Weaver, and then you can see Weaver's schedule there. Again, that is right on our school calendar, but just thought I would highlight that because I was hoping that there'd be various people in the audience today or watching on YouTube who might have this burning question and know where to see right on our website. Oops. And with that, I will conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Pulver. We now move to recognitions, and we're going to do the school of this evening is Los Alamitos Elementary. The presentation will be done by Principal Gary Willems. So, thank you.
Dr. Pulver. All right, what an awesome day. It's definitely different than my normal board report, but one step closer to normal. I was preparing to be here virtually, and I was trying to get my camera to highlight the right background in my office with the proper lighting. And so I am very excited to be here in person with you today, because to say that didn't go well is an understatement. I kept thinking I'm gonna have my face frozen in some weird way, and it's just gonna stay up there for the entire presentation. So, although this is not ideal, it is still a step forward, which we are taking at LAE. And how awesome was it to see Mr. Larson highlighted at the beginning by Ms. Davidson and the achievements he had that he's done this year. He's in the back of the room. He's done a great job at Los Al at Home, and he got a compliment from Dr. Pulver the other day over Zoom, and Dr. Pulver said, I can see in Gary's face, Mr. Williams, sorry, face, how proud he is. And it's just always nice to see somebody that you've worked with take that next step and do such a great job. So good evening, Madam President, esteemed members of the board, cabinet, LAE's Hero of the Heart, and community members. I'm excited to highlight the amazing school we have at LAE. But I wanted to start out by first pointing out that there's one thing that has really made me realize how special Los Alamitos Unified School District is, and that's the community that we have surrounding us. It was almost 1 year ago that we closed down, but with hard work and dedication, we were back up and running 2 days later with online learning. Through the vision of the board and the superintendent, the hard work of the district office, administrators, and teachers, we have moved ahead and given our Tigers at LAE an unparalleled learning experience. We had 4 teachers that found out the week before school started that they would be joining us and becoming Tigers. They did so, maybe not immediately, but they did so with a smile on their face, and they have been an absolute joy to have working with us. They have shown us what great caliber people we have, not just at Los Alamitos Elementary, but at all of our elementary schools. Our assistant principal, as you know, moved over to Los Al at Home and is doing a great job. Parents have had to change their schedules. Some pick up and drop off multiple times a day if they have students receiving services at LAE. Our instructional aides in our autism program can't stay 6 feet away from students at all times, but they still work hard every day to move their students forward and teach them the skills necessary for them to have a quality life. Our cafeteria hands out over 300 meals a day to help support the needs of our community, and our custodians fly around disinfecting and wiping down almost everything that you could imagine, from benches to the playground to classrooms to doors. The accomplishment I talk about in this presentation today are only possible because of the hard work by our entire community. We live in an incredible district where everyone has worked harder and been willing to do whatever it takes in order to achieve one overall arching goal: to do what's best for kids. I am proud to stand before you as principal of LAE. We are doing great, and we love LAE.
Hi, my name is Scarlett Whitaker, and I am a 5th grader here at LAE.
Hi, my name is Jameson Holler, and I am a 5th grader here at LAE.
We are here to give you a tour and let you know that a lot has changed here at LAE in the last year.
But LAE is still the place to be. We are doing great. We love LAE.
3.
Some students enter Gate 1.
Some students enter through Gate 2.
And some enter through Gate 3, but they all lead to this amazing place called LAE.
We are doing great. We love LAE. Well, don't worry, we still get to play on the playground.
And run and have fun just like other kids.
We may not have big ball or kickback,
Or tetherball or foursquare.
but in the end, we're still having a great time at LAE. We are doing great. We love LAE.
This is my 5th grade classroom. Notice the partitions of mask. People ask me what it is like wearing a mask and sitting behind glass. And all I say is I just love being in class. Let's get it, you guys!
We are doing great! We love LAE! Look, even our 1st graders are having a good day in class. They have their work on the walls and are as happy as can be.
We love LAE! Our cafeteria hands out over 300 lunches a day.
They go above and beyond to feed our families in the community. We are doing great. We love LAE.
I don't know if you heard it at the end, but while they're filming in the cafeteria, the worker in the background is singing "Tomorrow, Tomorrow," and I was like, yes, maybe tomorrow all of our Tigers will be back and we won't be wearing masks. So we did other takes, but I was like, it's just too perfect. I have to leave tomorrow in there. Great job by Jameson and Scarlett. Thank you both for helping with that video. All right, there we go. We've been able to offer many experiences to all of our Tigers. We wanted to make sure this year that whether you were a hybrid student or you were in LoSal at home, or Tigers at home as we call them, you had access to all the things that make LAE the place to be. We started an all-school yearbook, and for the first time, parents can submit pictures of their students, whether it's playing soccer in the backyard, hanging out with a sibling, or learning with Tigers at home. And of course, we are uploading pictures from our hybrid program. And this is just one way we wanted everybody to be a part of LAE this year. Our virtual Veterans Day Assembly was the highlight for me, as I am a proud veteran's son. The virtual Halloween parade and pumpkin carving contest brought a sense to normalcy for a very abnormal time. We started a new mentor program called Video Pals. We had over 60 Tigers sign up and create lasting friendships with a student they didn't know prior to the program. It let our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade Tigers become leaders while building community with our kindergarten 1st and 2nd graders. One of the highlights for me this year is I saw 2 students run across the playground and they hugged each other, and I immediately walked up and said, "Whoa, there's no hugging. This is COVID, 6 feet, social distance." And it put a smile on my face as I realized after talking to them, they were video pals, and this is the first time that they had actually met in person. So, heartwarming moments still happen at LAE, especially the 100th day of school. Celebrated by our kindergartners on the 100th day, whether you're at LoSal at home or a hybrid, we had a great day. The hybrid students dressed up as if they were 100 years old, and they met Zero the Hero. Despite some similarities, I want to assure you, I am not Zero the Hero. Zero the Hero doesn't wear glasses, and Mr. Willems clearly does. It was a great day for all. You can see the picture on the right-hand side is of a student, a Los Alamitos home student, who used their hundreds chart as a cape and soared on their 100th day. It will be remembered by our kindergarten Tigers and families as a great day. Our hybrid students have jumped right into rigorous learning and quickly adapted to new protocols like hand sanitation on their way into the room and partitions. The picture in the split screen is of the same classroom. The top part is the white partitions that we started the year with, and the bottom part is with the clear partitions. Pardon the pun, but I think the difference is clear. I know it's cheesy, sorry. I commend the board for being able to find the resources to keep us safe and to be able to realize the benefits of the clear partitions for our Tigers learning. LAE hybrid students still get to dress up. The picture in the top middle is of two girls on Crazy Hair Day. During Red Ribbon Week, which we still celebrated healthy lifestyles and dress-up days each day. Our Tigers still get to play 15 minutes a week on the playground, and minus missing their friends in the other cohort and Los Al at home, it's just like a normal day of school. They still get a safe, loving, rigorous education that is amazing to see in action. Our Tigers at home have also been able to participate in things that we do during a normal year. In the bottom right-hand side, you see a student getting ready to make Stone Soup. Stone Soup is a 4th grade novel that our students read that normally culminates with finishing the book and eating Stone Soup in class. Our Tigers at home made Stone Soup and ate over Zoom with each other during class, still getting the same experience. In the top right, you can see our Tigers at home celebrating Crazy Hair Day and Crazy Photo Day, apparently, but it looks like they are having a great time. The same experiences our hybrid students have gotten. Our families were worried that being Tigers at home, they would not have the same connection to LAE, and this could not be further from the truth. This brings us to LAE's first speaker, Jackson McAndrew. Jackson is a 5th grader at LAE, and she is going to discuss the events she has participated in at LAE that have made her journey memorable.
Hi, my name is Jackson McAndrew, and I'm a 5th grader at LAE. Today I'm going to talk to you about my experiences at LAE. One of my experiences at LAE is Makerspace. I really like our Makerspace teacher because she's really kind of funny. One of the things we're learning about in Makerspace is nature and animals and their habitats. I really love this subject because I want to be a vet when I grow up. Another thing we do in Makerspace is Ozobots. I really like the little bots because they move around when you draw lines, and you can draw little pictures around them to look like he's in a little village or on a map. Another thing I like at LAE is the playgrounds. They have great playgrounds, and they make sure that they're safe. You can swing on the swings, play on the monkey bars, go up a climbing wall, or even just hang out. Another thing I like about LAE is the buddy benches. The buddy benches are great if you want to find a friend. Who knows, maybe you can even find a new best friend. Another thing I like about LAE is Mr. Chu. He's really nice and funny, and he helps me when I'm sad. I like him because he cleans our classrooms and he makes them look really shiny and clean. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Fin-a-thon. I really like the Fin-a-thon because it helps you get all your energy out, and it's really fun to play on. I really enjoyed my time at LAE.
You know you have a good custodian when they get a shout out by the student in a 1-minute long speech about everything they love about LAE. And we do love Mr. Chu. We this year are focusing on math in LAE. While teachers are giving some social studies and science for asynchronous time, we really are focusing on the core math and ELA standards. I am impressed as I walk through classrooms, as it is unbelievable the amount of rigor that our teachers are bringing this year to ensure our students are getting these standards mastered. I'm really looking forward to seeing our district benchmark number 2 that's coming up at the beginning of March and seeing what gaps exist after this last year of unexpected twists and turns. I really feel that our Tigers are going to be set up well for the future and fully prepared to have those gaps made up so that they enter as Eagles and I almost said tigers. Eagles and lions, fully prepared. When I'm in an ELA classroom, I see the district signature practices of Writer's Workshop, Reader's Workshop, and Reading Plus. These are things that our students are doing each and every day to move themselves forward. I was in a first grade classroom, and the teacher dressed up as silly to get the kids to write because they had really been struggling with writer's block and their writing had dropped off. It's subtle things like this that show the extra mile that our teachers go to and the ideas they come up with in order to move our students forward. When I was in a fifth grade classroom for math, they were working on decimals. Decimals are extremely hard in fifth grade, but they were learning how to give a tip. And they came up with the Tiger Cafe and the Nomoto Cafe, where they had to plan out a meal for up to 12 people. They had to calculate how much each person's meal would cost, and then they had to add in the tip. This is something that I used to see in May, prior to testing, and we're seeing earlier this year, just a testament to everybody and how hard they've been working. We recognize our Tigers, just like you saw in the video, using A for the Day. We also have principal awards and monthly character awards. We have the LAE Mentor Program, which we switched to Video Pals this year, and we have Spirit Sticks. Spirit Sticks, although they do bring in quite a bit of funds for LAE each year, and you see an example up there, the real power of the Spirit Sticks is that each teacher was given a set of 100 unique Spirit Sticks that students can't purchase. You can only get these Spirit Sticks if you earn them from doing something over and above during class. It's a great way to incentivize our Tigers, and they do love Spirit Sticks. Makerspace and music are moving ahead full steam. Our teachers are offering opportunities for students to have fun while learning during asynchronous time. If you look at the picture in the top left, students had to build towers that could hold pumpkins, avocados, anything your parents really had, even a shoe. It didn't matter, but it was a great way to get kids engaged in STEAM while working from home. You also see one of our Tigers that built a voting box. They had to build a box that could hold a certain number of ballots, and of course, you had to decorate it saying why you would be a great president of the United States. In music, we have the performance Sing that's coming up. We also have our Los Al at Home and hybrid students logging on each Wednesday, and we have about an 80 to 85% attendance each Wednesday of all of our fourth graders, and they're practicing the songs for the fourth grade performance. We hope to offer a virtual fourth grade performance, at least the song portion, later this year. We build our Tiger community each day and in many ways, but if there's something positive that's really come out of COVID, I have to say it's the forcing us to really look at ways to utilize Zoom to get people involved. So one thing that brings me a lot of pride is that we've actually seen a big increase in the amount of our community that join us for school site council. We've had numerous, just great coffee with the principals, and we're really able to offer our parents, especially our working parents, a different way to get involved in LAE. And we've held meetings at 4:00 p.m. and at 9:00 a.m., and in each case we've seen a rise. So as we return to normal, there's one thing that won't, and we will be offering these still over Zoom and in person for our families. This brings us to our second presenter. Our second presenter is a fifth grader from Miss Nomoto's class, Nathaniel Priyakumar. He is going to talk about his favorite memories at LAE. Nathaniel won our speech contest last year. You are about to see why.
A day in the not-too-distant future, a Nobel laureate, an astronaut, a doctor, an F-35 pilot, or even the President of the United States. Yes, they are all within my reach, and the sky no longer a limit. Hi, I'm Nathaniel Levi Priyakumar, a fifth grader hailing from Miss Nomoto's class, and brimming with LAE pride that I won't hide, and will shout from the rooftops far and wide. Thinking of LAE, wow, all those cherished memories. From winning prized principals awards, PTA reflections awards, and the fourth grade speech contest to the LAEF after-school programs, and the field trips we take to museums, parks, farms, and many more. But most importantly, the dedicated teachers who foster a compassionate, can-do spirit. I am grateful for the versatile and vigorous opportunities given to us all. And I'm hopeful that these may serve as successful launchpads into our middle school years and the future. The great soccer legend Pele once said, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, the love of what you're doing or learning to do." LAE truly is the embodiment of this success and is indeed the place to be. Thank you.
All right. I told Nathaniel's parents he's either going to be a highly praised attorney or he's going to be a politician and possibly president, because not only can that kid write a speech, but you saw he can deliver as well. Thank you, Nathaniel, for that. Our PTA and FLA have moved online, just like a lot of things this year. And while we haven't done any big fundraisers yet, we have been able to service our community with things like C's candy sales, Charleston wrap, and Double Good popcorn. I was on a text string, and they were so excited when Dr. Pulver ordered popcorn. So thank you for that. And thank you, Ms. Hill, for ordering C's candy from LAE. We love that you guys supported our Tigers. LAE will be having our first big fundraiser that will go March 1st through March 31st. And we named it the Better Together Fundraiser. You may have taken that from Dr. Pulver. Our goal is to incorporate some of the ideas from Fit-a-thon and Healthy Lifestyles and Reading Challenge, getting students to read, which these are our two biggest fundraisers of the year. And we're trying to merge them into one fundraiser starting in March. LAE was under construction this summer, if you remember the dirt lot that LAE was turned into and the beautiful place it's become. We installed new bathrooms. We have 2 staff bathrooms, so now staff don't have to run across campus on their short recess or break. We resurfaced all of our playground and resurfaced our parking lot. And I don't remember exactly, but it was almost 11,000 square feet of resurfacing that they did. Just amazing. But we're not done, because LAE is getting ready to have 2 new playgrounds installed. Yep, that's right, not 1, but 2. We're gonna have the upper grade playground, which currently is in the middle of our campus, replaced. And we're gonna have the kindergarten playground, which if you've seen our kindergarten playground, it is time. And the kindergarten teachers are excited as they get ready for their new playground. So LAE continues to improve over all the improvements that the board has done over the last 4 years that I've been there. LAE doesn't even look like the same school. It looks like a brand new school from when I started. And thank you for all the efforts you've made to make LAE be the place to be. I am the proud principal of LAE. Thank you for letting me tell you why LAE is the place to be and highlight the achievements of our amazing Tigers at Home and hybrid students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Willems. It's such a joyful place, and I think in this climate, people wonder how we pull it together and have kids on campus and how it can work with all of the masks and everything. And you've done a wonderful job. Everybody looks so engaged and happy. So thank you for everything you're doing. Teachers have done a phenomenal job as well. Now you have a special presentation, if you would like to do your Hero of the Heart.
I do. Thank you very much. It gives me great honor to name our 2020-2021 Hero of the Heart, Brittany Holler. I have a speech that I'd like to read about Brittany, and then I'm going to bring her family up to be with her, and I know she's going to say a few words. I have more than a few words to say about this woman because she is amazing. You see just a few of the things that she does up on the screen, but more importantly, she is at LAE every day and goes out of her way, not just for her kids, but for every kid. So it is a great honor to be able to recognize Brittany Holler as LAE's 2020-2021 Hero of the Heart. Parents want their children to have as many experiences as possible and to thrive now as well as later in life. Brittany gives not only her child, but every child at LAE many experiences and memories, gives them as many experiences and memories as possible. She wants her child to succeed in life, but also wants all of the children at LAE to succeed in life. Brittany is like having a free full-time employee. She is at LAE, or at least prior to COVID-19, 5 days a week, often for all day. She volunteers before school, during school, and after school. She has served many different roles on PTA, and the last 2 years has been our PTA president. She's been a valuable member of events like Camp LAE, Carnival, Trunk or Treat, and Movie Night. She's the auctioneer for Backyard Bash. She is not shy. And the end of the year fundraiser, and helps with FLAY events in addition to PTA. This is only a small fraction of what Brittany does for LAE. If I was to list everything she does or has done, the board meeting would be another 4 hours. Brittany hasn't just helped the students, teachers, and parents of LAE, she's also helped me. When I took over as principal of LAE, I wanted to build our community and bring the LAE families together. I couldn't have done this without Brittany. She's been instrumental in helping me understand and giving me ideas on how to bring the LAE community together. I truly feel LAE is the best school community in the world, in part because of the dedication of Brittany. I can't say enough positive things about Brittany, and I can't thank her enough for all her time, energy, and dedication in helping all of our students receive an all-around incredible educational experience. Brittany is so helpful that I told her by giving her this award, she has to commit to volunteering at LAE for 3 more years. Even though she has a 4th and 5th grader, and her 5th grader was in the first video. Unfortunately, she was not willing to continue to volunteer at LAE when both her kids move on to McAuliffe, but I did get her for next year. She is an amazing person, and please join me in congratulating LAE's Hero of the Heart, Brittany Holler. I'm going to ask your family to come up as well.
Hello, everyone. I had to write stuff down, otherwise I'll forget and probably cry. He actually called me when I was in Hobby Lobby, and I was crying when he told me, so it's embarrassing. This is my son Brady, my husband Josh, and my son Jameson, who you saw in the video. Madam President, esteemed board members, and Dr. Pulver, I'm truly honored, I'm going to cry, to be recognized tonight. When it was time for our oldest to go to kindergarten, I told my husband that we had to move to LaSalle just because of the high academic standards in the district and the close community. So 6 years ago, we came here. My oldest, Jameson, entered Mrs. Cobb's kindergarten classroom, and that was the beginning of my volunteering. She immediately took me in. I volunteered twice a week. This was when kids would come, half of the kids would come an hour before. So I would come at 7:55, Jameson would come at 8:55, and I realized at that point that was probably when my volunteering life was beginning. Mrs. Cobb sent the foundation for my unwavering respect and love for the teachers at LAE. Mrs. Schiffer set the seed in Jameson's head that theater might be a path, not just football, that he could take and share with his brother Brady. Mrs. Meserve, Ms. Gardia, Ms. Namoto, and Mrs. Schaefer have all, during their own family time, supported Jameson and Brady by seeing their shows. The care and respect these teachers, as well as Mrs. Watson, Mrs. Walters, and all the LA teachers have showed to not just my boys, but all students, solidified my choice every year to volunteer. LAE teachers make a huge impact on my boys' lives, so how could I not choose to volunteer and make their lives a little easier every day? Mr. Williams is another reason why volunteering is easy. The moment he and Mr. Larson stepped foot onto our campus, an ease just filled the air. Mr. Williams welcomes help and new ideas and has truly built LAE into a family. When both of them will slip and slide into slime, dress up in ridiculous outfits, sleep in a tent overnight on campus, how could you not want to volunteer? Students always think that I work at LAE, just like Mr. Williams said. So when they ask me how much I get paid, I tell them I volunteer, so I get paid in love, not money. And I really, truly believe that. It makes me so happy to know that these students feel safe, and when they say to their parents, that's the LAE lady, or Mrs. Holler, or Mrs. Jameson, or Mrs. Brady, because I name my kids' last names, it's with joy and not disgust. I want to thank my husband, Josh, for working hard and being the parent at events so I could help others and be active on our campus. A big thanks to my boys for not needing me to be around them at every event and understanding that they have to come early or stay late to help. Thank you to my mom friends who I volunteered with over the years. When one of us shines, we all shine. Without Megan's assurance 6 years ago that PTA is not like the movies, I probably wouldn't have made it past the first PTA meeting. Thank heavens I continued. Thank you to Jen and Nicole for being great friends and helping PTA and FLA work together the past few years together for our LAE community. I love this journey for us. Thank you to all the staff at LAE for being so appreciative of my help and understanding that I wish I could do more for them this year, but I just can't, sorry. You know, COVID. I hope that at least one parent today or caregiver listens to me, understands the benefits of volunteering on a Los Al campus next year, and volunteers for just one day. And if it's at LAE, I'll still be there, and you will immediately see how the kids, teachers, staff, and other parents make LAE the place to be. So, thank you all.
Tina, maybe we should take the picture now because I'm not sure if we'll have time for the recess, and we can do it right here while her family's here and Mr. Willems is there. In the meantime, does any of the board
Comment?
want to?
I actually didn't give an opportunity for you to comment after Mr. Williams' wonderful presentation. So if anybody wants to share right now, please feel free. Mr. Forehand?
Mr. Williams, I had the chance to visit last week. Yeah, it was last week. And everything you said is right on target. That is a wonderful place to go to school. So thank you for all of you.
Thank you, and thanks for visiting.
Well, and it really wasn't Mrs. Hill who bought the Seas candy. It was Mr. Hill when I forwarded him the link.
I can attest we were very excited on chat.
You guys are really awesome. And Mr. Willems, you've done an amazing job there. And I really loved what Brittany said about how you've brought so much light to the campus. And Brittany, I think you bring a lot of light to the campus as well. So thank you.
I was able to go through LAE also, and the engagement of the kids, and I know they're there in the hybrid form for about a little less than 3 hours, but the teachers were so focused and the kids were so engaged that it's a very powerful 3 hours. There is some benefit, it's not as much time as we would like, but because of the smaller numbers, I think it's working out well. And Brittany, you chose to volunteer and you chose to support the other kids. Thank you so much.
Brittany, congratulations. You typify what makes our community great, the parent involvement. It's the uniqueness of all of that commitment that really brings the love to the campus. So thank you so much.
And I just want to thank Mr. Willems and Mr. Larson as well, even coming tonight as still a LAE Tiger, but just your entire staff and what you continue to do to wake up each and every single day to see how they can inspire and motivate and help kids thrive. It always is a pleasure. As I shared, the learning environment is robust. It is inviting, it is warm, and our teachers are really just dedicated to our students. So as we were doing the walkthrough, it was nice to be able to visit the gate supervision beforehand and to see Mr. Willems knowing every single student's name, kind of walking by with a face mask. It's kind of hard to still detect, and he could it's really powerful to see that you have such a strong connection with the students there. And then Brittany, there are so many faces of LAE, but I know that you're one of them. Every time I think of LAE, I see you and just the passion and the dedication and the hard work that you do. And you really are a champion for all students. And that's what I think sometimes people don't realize, how much work our volunteers really do to not benefit just their own kids, but 600 plus kids each and every year. So thank you very much for your dedication and your volunteerism. It really is an exemplary role model for your family and for all of us as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
We'll
as
get
they're
Mr.
taking
Larson
pictures,
for one, and then we'll have the family. And then I'll slide out.
Oh.
Thank you so much. And I think I think we're skipping recess, right? So we're going to move straight into the community participation. We do have 21 speakers. So there's a 3-minute limit, and we really, as much as we know you have wonderful things to say, we'll be here till midnight. We also have a 30-minute limit on speakers total. The board can move to extend that, but we need to do it on the condition that you'll work really hard to stay within the 3 minutes, and when the buzzer rings, conclude that sentence, where poor number 21 will be speaking at 1 a.m. So do I have a motion to extend beyond the 30 minutes?
I so move we extend it to allow all the speakers to speak at 3 minutes per speaker.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's 5-0. We will extend it and keep faithful to the 3 minutes. Our first speaker is Barbara Farrell.
I have to say, I've missed you guys, but I've been holed up. They tell me I'm too old to go anywhere. So, good evening, President Davidson, honorable board members, and Superintendent Pulver. First of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Reed for the wonderful erudite presentation on ethnic studies. As you know, I'm a supporter of the Human Relations Force and that program. The expansion of racial literacy and critical thinking, resulting in significant cognitive development for all of our children of all races and ethnic backgrounds. This program will be a valuable part of building our community, which has been one of my goals since I arrived here. Please pass this ethnic studies program and to make it real and alive. In addition to that, I have a letter from Reverend Samuel Pullen from the Community Congregational United Church of Christ, and he's asked me to submit this to you. So thank you so much, and I've missed you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Carrasco. I am a mother of students, 3 students in Los Alamitos High School. I really think it's a really good opportunity for the students to have these programs, because in my country that I come from, Mexico City, I have the opportunity to study all the whole world, many of the cities of the world, ethnic study. And I was surprised, very surprised, when my son, my children, doesn't have any kind of program, these programs. So I am really encouraged to approve these ethnic studies, because it will be good for the student to know the roots. It will be very good, very rich for the culture. So I am really a favor to pass the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Also, I have the Pastor Sam letter too, who supports to the program.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Reverend Samuel Pullen. So you submitted that letter. He's not here? Okay, thank you. Sokola Elliott.
Hello, Dr. Pulver and the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Secola Elliott. I am a former employee and a parent of 2 students. I have an 8th grader at Oak Middle School and a high schooler in 10th grade and a gang of cousins just here in Los Alamitos. I want to start off with a story that my niece is new to Oak Middle School, and she came home and she's like, Auntie, I have to tell you a story. She's like, a kid came in our class, raised his hand, and he asked our teacher, why are all the teachers white? And I have to understand it was a relevant question because as an employee, I asked myself that same question. I have had the opportunity to work with many of you because I sit on the board of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the Human Relations Committee. And I know that we are moving the needle for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm grateful for all the conversations that are being had, but real change needs to be visible. I am looking to all of you to make it visible, not only in your words, but in the actions that you take moving forward. Ethnic studies is the studies of differences, and we owe each student that exposure. People fear what they don't understand, and that's why it's important for students to learn about different cultures. When people hear of ethnic studies, they think, oh, it's a black and white issue, or it's this issue, but it's a world issue. We all need to learn and understand each other better. U.S. leaders of this district owe the students diversity. You owe them diversity in the teachers that teach them, diversity in leadership, and diversity in their education. I got to listen to some of the speeches earlier, and a lot of people seem like they're for it, but they feel like it's rushed. But a yes is a yes to forward movement. The curriculum can be tweaked. So I hope that you say yes tonight, and I want to end with a quote from Brene Brown. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. Tonight, I hope that you all practice your values. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Nemesh Patak. Please come forward.
Hello, thank you all for having me here. I am Namesh Pathak. I live in Seal Beach. I have 2 daughters. Homeschool is Magad. They're doing LOSAL at home. I urge you to adopt this ethnic studies program. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for our kids. I'm not going to talk about the politics or the science. I'm sure you guys have heard all of that stuff. The only thing I'm going to mention is a story of my daughter who is currently in Miss Metcalf's classroom. They're doing this amazing project called the Heritage Project, where each student has to go and interview their grandparents. They have to learn about the customs of their family, why they eat certain foods, which holidays they celebrate, which clothes are important for their family. And then they put together a flip grid and they present it to their classmates. And the amount of diversity in the class is stunning. It's wonderful. And every day when I come home, my daughter rushes to me and says, oh, can you believe that so-and-so's mom is Chinese and her dad is Filipino and they eat this for dinner and this is how they celebrate their special holidays. And it's wonderful to see that. It's heartwarming. I think it brings all their classmates closer together. They understand each other and they have a bond, even over LOSAL at home, that is really strong because they understand each other. I think at the end of the day, these kids that are going to face a world that's much more diverse, whether it's their classmates, whether they're out in college, whether they move on to the workforce, and the skills to be able to connect with other people, to understand other people, no matter what culture they come from, those skills are critical, whether you're a veterinarian, a plumber, whatever it is you choose to do. I think we owe it to our kids to give them these skills, give them this tremendous opportunity to just have a better future. I think it's a long-term investment in giving our kids a strong opportunity to better connect to their fellow community and build a stronger community. Thank you for your time. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Marissa Hayes.
I'm sorry, I've never been to one of these, so I brought a PowerPoint presentation, but okay. So I have a daughter that goes to Los Alamitos High School, and first off, I feel like a lot of the kids aren't really getting educated at home, so it's our responsibility to educate them about the people that they go to school with and other cultures. And if you guys haven't seen Los Alamitos Can't Silence Us Instagram page, it is heartbreaking about their accounts with racism at school. And a lot of it is because they don't understand other cultures and they don't understand and they might not be learning at home. And then I have like a couple of recordings of Dr. Pulver when you were talking to them saying that there is a need. So I would really like urge you to double down and say like, yes, we have to roll out with this because you already promised them when they came out. So to protest. And well, I was gonna play the videos, but like an example, like one of the kids was saying that there was swastikas etched in their desk at school and the N-words etched in their desk. So that was pretty upsetting. And then another thing I wrote is we have to teach our kids how to collectively break this generational cycle of teaching our kids inaccurate American history, even if it's hard truths that we have to accept. We collectively got into this mess. We need to collectively get out of it. So it's your guys' responsibility. You have the moral obligation to our kids, and culture and diversity is both beautiful and valuable, and we need to show them that. And then you already promised the kids that you're gonna have it, so I don't see like why we're debating this. And then also, it creates deeper thought as to what, why, and how something occurred and understand how that affects people in society, even their peers. So I won't play the videos because you won't be able to hear them. And then also something very problematic happened today with my daughter at school with one of the teachers. So I think that also it needs to be trained with our teachers because, you know, some of them are definitely missing it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Miller.
Hello, Steve Miller, live in Seal Beach in Old Town. I love the idea of the ethnic studies. As a member of the McGaw community, we're fortunate to have the International Culture Club. The club highlights holidays from around the world, celebrating those that I was never taught in school. My daughter comes home from third grade, second grade last year, whatever every year, and she tells me about these, and it just gives me chills because she's learning about things that I was never experienced to. I'm a boring guy. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Missouri. Everybody I grew up with looked just like me, and I look around the room and I see like most of these people, my friends, and I dig this. Like this is what like the America that I want to live in, and I want my daughter to live in, and in the future. Like this is amazing. This is awesome. But yeah, I mean I'm not going to sit here and take a lot of your guys' time. Like this is just so needed. Like this is why people like families move out here and they come to these school districts and come to California just to have that diversity and have the opportunity to learn and to educate. And like Marisa said, like a lot of what I learned in school isn't factual, and it's sad and it's disappointing. And I think the more that we can educate our kids and teach them about the world, not just the United States, because I think that's a big problem. Is we all grew up with stuff that's just not it's just not accurate. So. I love the idea of ethnic studies. I hope it expands beyond what the idea of it is right now. I hope it goes to middle school. The Culture Club at McGaw is an excellent example of what it could be for every school in this community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anisha Nicholson.
Hi, good evening, Superintendent, Board of Trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I come to you tonight as a parent of a Griffin, as well as 2 Oak Lions. I stand here tonight in support of ethnic studies in our district. One of the things I teach my kids is that you don't cut yourself down by building others up. You don't lose self by encouraging the growth of your peers. You build each other and you support one another, which in turn strengthens our community as a whole. Research shows that students perform better academically and have increased engagement when presented with an inclusive curriculum. It's a way for various cultures and ethnicities to see that they are too valued and have contributions to this history and this world. They are more than what is reflected in our current curriculum. Avoda notes his curriculum due to some feeling it is too soon or feeling uncomfortable, sends a message to these students that they need to learn about their accomplishments and learn about their culture and those around them is not important. Some may say, wait, slow down, but we've been waiting to be seen and acknowledged since the educational system was first created. Now is the time. It is our responsibility to prepare our students for the world in which they will encounter. As the quote says, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. Let's empower all of our students to be the greatest version of themselves. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I might say this last name wrong, Nina Batanti.
Good evening, Superintendent Pulver, Madam President Davison, and esteemed members of the board. I'm here tonight as a parent of a high schooler, one still in high school and one who graduated 2 years ago. I came tonight because I heard that there was opposition to the Ethnic Studies program, and I wanted to make sure that the voices of those of us who are in support were heard. I know that opposition can be big and angry, and it can be uncomfortable, but there are a lot of us in support of this program, and so I felt it was important that I come here. I was here on June 24th when past graduates of Los Al spoke about their experiences of racism in the school district, and I was here when Dr. Pulver acknowledged the need for an ethnic studies course at the high school. As a parent of a Los Al student and a current high school student, it really angers me to continue to hear about racism that's ongoing at the high school level. It's very disturbing. And all students should see themselves in the curriculum. Los Al prides itself on academic excellence moving forward. Progress is part of that academic excellence. Curriculums include ethnic studies from elementary on, and an in-depth study at the high school is necessary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking. Iris Cho.
Good evening, board members. My name is Iris Chow, and I'm a senior at Los Alamitos High School. I'm also a board member of the Griffins of the Mission Freshman Retreat Program, and I've been on the board for the past 2 years. Our mission statement emphasizes qualities of empathy, respect, and understanding for a diverse student body. Ethnic Studies reflects these same values and introduces hope for an inclusive future. Our current curriculum is missing crucial voices, and many students lose out on learning about important aspects of their identity. It's hard to expect students to go out in the world understanding how to emulate empathy and respect when the education they have received is so biased. Students experience so much ignorance within the school district, and they will experience more beyond just their high school career. A lot of this is because students in America are often taught a one-sided version of history and culture. A course like Ethnic Studies is the right step forward in reducing these systemic inequalities that have been a part of foundations for so long. Not implementing this course is telling these marginalized students that their voices aren't important enough and that their perspective isn't worth our time and effort. We need to reevaluate our priorities on what is being taught and how it's being taught to these students. We need to rethink what type of student we want to put out into the world when they graduate from Los Alamitos High School. Even though change is difficult and it's uncomfortable, this is something that's worth the time and the effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you. Jackie Bond.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jackie Bond, and I'm a senior at Los Al High School. I am also a member of Griffins with a Mission, and I'm in full support of an ethnic studies course because I have personally witnessed racism. I'm very privileged in that I have obviously never experienced it, but I don't want the people that have experienced it, have undergone it for so long, to go unnoticed. It is worth our effort. It is worth our commitment to all students. This is a district of inclusivity, and I believe that a course like ethnic studies embodies that belief. So I fully support an ethnic studies class, and I think that it will get us more into a world where it's not just a Eurocentric curriculum, that we can see all perspectives and we can be a part of something bigger than just one race or one view. So thank you so much for hearing me out, and I hope that you move forward with this plan.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Tai. I'm a senior at Los Alamitos High School. I'm also part of the organization Griffins with a Mission. And that mission is to create an environment for our students that fosters inclusiveness, connection, and an overall understanding of everyone's backgrounds that they bring to our beautiful student body. As such, I believe, along with many others, that the addition of an ethnic studies class would do nothing except add on to this ideal. What we do every year is we have a retreat for our freshmen, but that's only for a day. With an ethnic studies class, it can do in a year what we try to accomplish in just a day. So as such, I do staunchly support this. But I come here as more than just someone as part of a board of an organization. I come here as ultimately, at the end of the day, one of your students. And as one of the students in this district, I have experienced what I originally thought was racism or racial comments. But in time, I've come to learn that it's nothing more than ignorance. This ignorance is something that can hurt people, but it's also something that can be very easily fixed. What we've done in our past is we've educated ourselves. We've educated our children not to repeat our own mistakes. And as such, I believe that the addition of something so simple as a class in a school where the mission is, at the end of the day, to educate our children, I believe that the addition of that ethnic studies class will do nothing but, again, benefit us. And with that, I thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Ryan Vaughn.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bond. I'm also a high school senior at Los Alamitos High School, and I'm also on the program for Griffin with a Mission. And kind of rephrase Kevin's statement about the program is more of inclusive about culture and aspects ranging from different economic status from the kids and different cultures. And from an experience at the club, as a freshman who came into the Griffin with a Mission with a positive attitude rather than just to attend it, I've witnessed someone in my fellow classmate. He kind of experienced racism throughout his entire childhood and throughout high school, and then he's been keeping it within himself, and he shouldn't have felt that throughout the years. And I fully support him, and I've been in contact with him ever since. He's been more open, and even from like a personal standpoint, I've seen subtle comments about it and students not being able to be open and rather just try to fit in with the social minority within the school. And I think that ethnic studies will provide more of a general concept and view and perspective to the students at the high school level. Even with the recent events with the Asian Americans, with the recent hate crimes and the recent events in the summer and spring of the Black Lives Matter, I think that should be more looked into as a elective, as we are looking into as, and rather than just a history point and bring out the points of how Black lives are being more, I should say, more publicized right now rather than just a history note. So I think that ethnic studies will give more of a perspective and value for the students and allowing them to use this knowledge throughout the high school and maybe the careers in college. And once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. Nathan Searles.
President Davidson and honorable members of the board. Good evening. My name is Nathan Searles, and I'm a parent of a student at Oak Middle School. I'm speaking in support of proposed ethnic studies curriculum. We cannot ignore what our students have endured, and we cannot ignore what some feel is our community's reputation. Contrary to those inciting fear, proven studies are clear that exposure to ethnic studies will improve performance of all students. We've heard from those students waiting for it. Also, 44 teachers support the curriculum as opposed to one who did not. But I also want to speak specifically about my daughter. She's bright, caring, eager to learn, and I can't wait to see where in the world and things she'll do. Loving school when she comes home from class every day and eagerly shares what she's learned, this curriculum will also make me a more informed parent, person, and member of the community. Who should oppose that? So a few years from now, I'll be in tears as she goes off to college. However, you know, I'll be a little more at ease knowing she was fortunate enough to take this ethnic studies course with great faculty and fellow incredible classmates at LaSalle. A wonderful place and time to learn and maybe even make an honest mistake in this course. The experience and knowledge from this course will undoubtedly assist her in college and professionally, where her peers and mentors will come from near and far, many unfamiliar paths working together, relying on and respecting one another's diversity to joint success. How is that not our goal in educating? We are fortunate to have so many of the best and brightest families wanting to live and learn in our Los Alamitos community. If we decide tonight to abandon ethnic studies, we are also telling those best and brightest families who our priorities are, not what our priorities are. Lastly, when you take this vote, I want you to remember a couple things. Please do not forget or ignore the students who bravely shared the bullying stories and their continued pain. Your promise to change that culture and to have this class. And that if you should decide no, that when one incident happens, this board and our community will be remembered as that place where curriculum could have been chosen tonight, but instead wasn't. That narrative will instead be, oh, it's LaSalle, that district that opposes ethnic studies. What do you expect? I don't want to be part of that community, and I don't think you do either. Thank you for your time, and may your decision be as clear as it is to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Lonsberry. Oh, okay, thank you. So we'll wait a couple minutes. Sure. Sethi Che. And please correct me if I said that wrong.
Hi, my name is Sethi Che. Thanks for the opportunity to be here to speak to the board. I have 3 children who are currently enrolled in the district's hybrid program. So first I'd like to thank the Los Alamitos District and Superintendent Dr. Pulver for the leadership in trailblazing this initiative. It really defines what success looks like and provides a working model for others to look at. And that's what this country needs as a shining light of an example. And I appreciate the active collaboration process that the district has initiated with parent community in this historical endeavor. So I'm here tonight to really comment on the ethics studies course that's being voted here tonight. I thought I was a pretty informed parent. I think I got this through word of mouth, and so I felt like, I think someone mentioned it was a bit rushed. And so I'm here just to see if there's possibility of maybe requesting more time for folks that, like myself, who want to know more about the detail of the curriculum. I know that last board member meeting, went through the overview, I thought that was a good appetizer for what's to come for the curriculum. But I think there's more I'd like to understand in terms of how it's going to get implemented, some of the details. And, you know, personally, I understand the importance and value of ethics studies in the framework of a diversity, inclusion, and tolerance. You know, myself, you know, I had an overseas experience as, in an academic sense, going overseas and live, study, and worked in Germany. So I had an experience of studying German history and the turbulence during that time. And so that kind of hit home because I think one of the board members brought up last time, which resonated with me, was the inclusion of different minority Asians as part of inclusion. And so I think, you know, when it was brought up for Southeast Asians, it kind of really resonated with me. And so personally, I am a Cambodian killing fields survivor and refugee. I fled my homeland at the tender age of 4. So just imagine the multi-dimensional social economic challenges and struggles that I had to face starting my life in a new country, a new language, and as an underrepresented minority Asian in America. And so, you know, I won't go into the details of my life. Maybe it'll become an autobiography one day. But aside from that, what brought me here is the support of parents. I think the education system here, I got the privilege and the honor of having great teachers, great mentors in my life that have paved my way through Stanford Engineering School. And now I'm literally aiming for the stars working in aerospace. So I understand the importance, but I think right now I'd like to ask if there's a possibility of asking for more time. Only because, you know, I know there's some people who have questions about some of the things. Maybe there's confusion. So I want to have that opportunity for those folks who aren't here tonight to kind of evaluate and go through that process. But I want to share a little bit about my experience, and that it kind of hits home for me in that respect. So I thank you again for the time.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Amy Lonsbury.
I want to thank the board for allowing me to speak. I'm Amy Lounsbury, and I'm actually an alumni from Rossmore Elementary, Oak Middle School, and Los Alamitos High School. So ethnic studies is the history of us. It's the history of contributions of all American people, including the histories and perspectives of people of color. By the time I graduated from Los Alamitos High School, I knew the following: that slaves were kidnapped and brought on ships, that slaves were freed when the Civil War ended, that Spaniards colonized California and California indigenous were abused and mainly wiped out, that the Japanese were interred during World War II, Jews died in the Holocaust, and Chinese Americans had something to do with railroads. I was uneducated. I had no idea about the Great Migration or anything about why my Black fellow Californians lived in certain areas, but I had one Black family in my neighborhood. Black Californians lived mainly in the bad neighborhoods, and I lived in the good neighborhood. I had to form my own hypothesis. As a child, nobody really explained it to me. I didn't ask. This is the information I knew. I had no idea about redlining, and I'd never heard of sundown towns, or that they actually existed in areas where I grew up or near me. You can imagine the assumptions a child makes with zero bad intentions. I did not know Compton had once been a middle-class, thriving Black community. I didn't know that law enforcement wouldn't allow people to go cross the 405 freeway, and I grew up here. I didn't know that. I didn't realize people couldn't do business outside of their tiny little enclaves, that they were trapped geographically. I was uneducated. I had no idea until reading the Long Beach Wilson High School yearbook of 1943, which my grandmother had actually helped put together, that the high school had gone from having a thriving Japanese club and Japanese students in 1941 that participated in everything to no mention of Japanese students or clubs in 1943. I didn't know there was a thriving Japanese community with farms. They owned land in Signal Hill. I had no idea, and it's right here. I was under the general impression that any Japanese person that I met was probably first generation. I was undereducated. I did not know I was going to school sitting next to many indigenous people. Anyone that looked indigenous was assumed to be Mexican. I did not know indigenous people are genetically tied to this land for 13,000 years. No idea. I was uneducated. I did not know what a pogrom was, and I know I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, until my late 20s. I didn't know that there was a diaspora. I had no idea. I had no idea that in 1978, Jews were still not allowed into the Los Angeles Country Club. I was uneducated. I could go on, so let me wrap this up. But basically, children should see their ethnicity covered in curriculum. As a white woman, every class was centered around me, my history, my perspective. Children should have the option of learning about their community in its entirety. I would have signed up for this class. So bottom line is this: let's make sure we don't have new generations that act brand new when they face the world. Let's make sure kids aren't ignorant, like I was as a senior, before going out into the greater world, engaging with their fellow Americans. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Emmy Chen.
Good evening. My name is Emmy Chen. I was here 8 months ago asking our district to develop an ethnic studies curriculum. I am here to thank you. It feels like a different world now. I am 4 inches taller, have been learning virtually, and during the pandemic, the district has put together an ethnic studies curriculum. I am so grateful for the steps taken. Next year, I will be attending Los Alamitos High School. If the ethnic studies elective passes today, I would have the opportunity to take it next year. Ethnic studies is the history and contributions of all American people, including the histories and perspectives of people of color. It is crucial that the ethnic studies elective is passed. Currently, the school curriculum, history, science, language arts, performing arts, does not discuss the contributions of the Asian American community as part of U.S. history. I don't see myself in the school curriculum. That has to change. I feel privileged that our school district is considering passing an ethnic studies course. I'm appreciative and excited to see myself in the curriculum and learn about other histories of race, ethnicity, and culture, and its implications on the United States. Let's join the 20+ other districts in implicating ethnic studies. I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Catherine Yee.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Ye. That is my oldest. She's 13 years old. I have a 9-year-old also at Los Al and Weaver. Like Emmy, I was here 8 months ago. I'm asking if we can move forward with an ethnic studies curriculum. I am here just in gratitude because I realize this elective is part of a broader movement that Los Al has been moving forward. In addition to being a parent, I am on 4 committees in Los Al. I am on 2 Human Relations Task Force Committee, the Curriculum Committee, the Parent Committee. I'm on the Weaver Culture Club and the School Site Council. So I've had a chance to look closely and observe every school board meeting of how the district has been so intentional in making decisions to ensure that ethnic studies is grounded in state requirements, grounded in research, and working in partnership with other schools and districts, and also ensuring that our teachers are already starting professional developments. I am part of the Orange County Department of Education Ethnic Studies leadership team. I have seen more LaSalle teachers engaging in professional development there than any other district in Orange County. So I realize that there is still certain things that are not clearly articulated to our broader community, because that takes time. But I'm also aware that this is a movement. It's a small step towards constant work that our district has been doing. That we are aware that our community, this is ethnic studies. What is happening in our room right now is ethnic studies. It is honoring everyone's voice. I always tell my children, like my 13-year-old that spoke, that grew 4 inches, is now taller than me, know history, you know self. Know others. When you know others and their history, you know yourself. I want my child and all the children and myself to realize that our lives are interwoven. Ethnic study is the history of us, that we are truly better together. So I'm here to thank you. I believe we'll move this forward because it is part of a larger mission of LaSalle. You all heard me speak multiple times throughout the year, and I am truly just in gratitude, and I hope we'll continue to move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Our next speaker is Brandon Hart.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm going to read our district's mission statement to start. Hopefully you all have it memorized, and I'm just wasting your time, but it's for the TV audience, really. Students will thrive in a caring, respectful, and encouraging environment where they demonstrate academic excellence and develop unique talents in preparation for their future goals. Most of my career at Los Alamitos Unified has been focused on the academic excellence and the unique talents. And I think we're all very proud of what we've achieved for so long in those areas. But when you go back to the beginning of the statement, the caring, respectful, and encouraging environment, it got me to thinking about my sophomore year at Los Alamitos High School when Nazi skinheads put flyers in lockers, and we arrived at school one morning to find them. And the school's systemic approach to addressing the issue was the birth of the Guam program. It was an organic beginning. It was addressing a very hot and pressing issue. And I was lucky enough to go to the second conference. And it was a powerful emotional experience for the students that participated. It was the beginning of a conversation about a community that has challenges with racism, diversity, and inclusion. And in the past year, I've heard the voices of my former students talk about their experiences, and it harkens back to those three ideas: caring, respectful, and encouraging environment. And I see this course as one piece of a much larger puzzle of things that we need to do to make sure that all students feel cared for, respected, and encouraged. And I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I'm proud of the work that we will continue to do. And good night, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brandon. Drew Sells.
Hello, esteemed board, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm a proud parent of two in the district, a teacher of biology and a coach at Los Alamitos High School. In an attempt to give some background to the many years that have led to today, Mr. Hart has already given us some of the many years previous to what I'm going to talk about. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the WASC process. It's not always everybody's favorite topic. I know some of the teachers are not always stoked when they hear that we're going to do the WASC. And many of you may not be very well versed at what WASC is, but I think it's an important piece of this puzzle. The Western Association of Schools and Colleges. Many in this audience may not know exactly what it is. WASC is an independent commission of educational experts who analyze all aspects of school, insist on a lengthy self-evaluation of that school, and then issues a report with suggestions and priorities of what needs to be fixed. I think of WASC as a team of home inspectors who come in and give you the news of what you need to fix and which items you should fix first. However, unlike a home inspection that generally occurs prior to you moving in, this is an inspection of a home we have lived in for years, some of us for decades. I want to reiterate that point. It's very important. This is an inspection of a home we have all lived in, some of us for decades. Many of the people who've spoken tonight have upwards of 20 and 30 years of experience in this home. This last WASC report at LAHS was the result of 10 months of work that began in 2017 by literally every single member on campus. There are over 1,000 hours of self-reflection and writings of what we feel this home needs. What does the WASC report say, and how does it say it? The report is one that escalates in importance, page by page, with the most dire repairs to your home indicated on the last page under critical, it's called critical areas for focus. And I want to share 3 of the 6. One is to increase equity and access through the monitoring of A through G completion rates for low-performing students in all subgroups. Number 2, address the issue of disciplinary inequity. And number 3, and this one's most salient to the point we're trying to make tonight, and it is increase cultural, relevant pedagogy to encourage students to relate to course content. These 3 points constitute 50% of the recommendations that are critical areas of focus to fix our house. This course proposal is one very important step in the right direction to addressing the most pressing issues with this house. Esteemed board, I encourage you to vote to overwhelmingly support this proposal. It is one of the few that I will hope that will be 5-0. And please know that your teachers, especially those who are going to teach this subject, are going to need your absolute commitment and unwavering support. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Drew. Thank you. Mossy Kennedy.
Hello, my name is Mossy Kennedy. I teach at the high school, and I'm very appreciative of this moment. It represents a lot. I'm appreciative of how the high school is connected with the community in a really meaningful way, a different way. I'm really appreciative of the work my colleagues have put in this effort. It's brought out the best in a lot of us. It's been fantastic. And I'm also really appreciative of the students who have spoken. I'm really privileged to be the teacher of 3 of the students who have spoken and inspired by all of them. What they had to say strikes an important chord, and it should be the motivation for why we go forward in approving this motion. I'm glad to be at this moment where we're about to positively add to our school. As Mr. Sells has just portrayed, this is going to be a tangible, important step to fulfilling the wishes of our WASC report. It makes us a better school in providing more culturally relevant pedagogy. It's an important step in our progression. I'm also happy that the body of teachers at the high school are ready to engage in this challenging work. This is a step that we want to get in place, but we're fully committed to fulfilling this mission and getting involved in this work. I'm pleased to be working in a district that has chosen inclusion. I'm pleased to be working in a district that has chosen this noble and enlightened path. Thanks.
Thank you, Mossy. And our last speaker, Tara Phrygian. And I've known you a long time, and I probably still screwed up your last name, so I apologize. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam President, Marlis Davis, esteemed board, and Dr. Pulver. I'm a parent, and I have 2 children that have been very fortunate to benefit from the Los Al School District, and it's really one of the reasons why we chose the community that we live in. Myself as a woman of color growing up, I too had delayed in my education until I went to university to take Black studies or women's studies in order to have a better picture of our world and understanding. I think our children are faced with historic experiences that our society has never faced. And as a mental health therapist, I think some of the 3 foundational importance for our youth is for them to know that they are seen and they are heard and that they matter. And ethnic studies is a step in that direction. It is a way to give a voice to those who often have no voice. And for all the children who may be represented in ethnic studies that would not be recognized, would not be given a voice, that they have this opportunity for a curriculum to reflect them and how empowering that can be for them as they go on and make our world a better place and are our future. I think in this process of ethnic studies, I think there are so many teachers within Los Al that do pay attention to their curriculum, and they do put parts of, whether it's reading material, whether it's science, look at the various contributors that have brought such great knowledge to the table. And I think ethnic studies is still a sign that it's still having to be supplemented, that there is a lacking in the core curriculum where this does not echo. And so I am so grateful for our district to be historic in this long-awaited of having voices where people can be seen, heard, and know they matter, to break stereotypes through conversations at young and early ages. This can be started, I know we're looking at 6th through 12th graders, but this can start at kindergarten, preschool. You know, it just becomes a narrative and a dialogue that's not it's not a question, it's just an acknowledgement of our humanness and that our history, we have erred, but we are learning and we are growing as a young nation. And so I commend you all, and I hope that you will include ethnic studies and further progress in this direction.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you. When we have a public forum, if people come to speak and it's on a topic that's not agendized, we're really not allowed to respond. But this is a topic on our agenda, so would anyone like to comment? Mr. Forehand?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed hearing the voice of this community. And I also want to reiterate the voice of the student, because we heard that passionately tonight, and thank you for your input.
Mr. Fayette?
Ladies
Okay.
first.
Go ahead.
I also would like to thank all of our community members, both at our workshop and tonight, for coming and speaking. It's very important that we hear from all of our stakeholders. I'm one person, one vote, and I have this much knowledge and experience. To hear from all of you puts a greater experience and gives me a much greater perspective. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time to come and give your perspective so that we can make the best decision possible for everyone. Thank you.
Mrs. Catulli?
It's almost, for me personally, it is almost unfair
when students speak. I am usually so impressed, so proud, as if I helped write their words and have them say them so well. They really sway me, so it's almost unfair to have our students speak. But I'm so happy when you do. And like what Mr. Fayette said, I appreciate everyone who comes and addresses us. And we had people in our afternoon session that came and addressed us. And I think it's important that we hear from everyone and that we will vote on it in a little bit as soon as we get through our agenda. But it's important for the public to know that as board members, I know we all read every email we get. If we get an email sent to only us, we try to make sure everybody else has it because we want all of our board members to have the same amount of information. So thank you to everyone who participated.
So I just in closing quickly here, I was really struck by the students also. And it causes me to reflect back because my own two children were in school when Griffins with a Mission, Guam, started because of the anti-Semitic literature put in the high school. And once again, parents were astounded, teachers were astounded, we were horrified, but it was the students who came back to the high school and said, this doesn't represent who we are. We need to be organized. We need to do something about it. And Griffins with a Mission was started. The Human Relations Task Force came out of the sharing, the testimonies, the storytelling of a lot of the students at the high school and all the way through middle school that were heart-wrenching. It took such courage to get up here and share the pain and the humiliation and the hurt that they'd experienced by other people who need to understand. And now here we are with the ethnic studies class, and once again, whose voices do we hear the strongest? It's the students. And how can we not respond? When I was in 8th grade, I witnessed two very terrible examples of racism. They were terrible. And when I turned to my dad, who was a wonderful man, he said to me, you're too young to understand. We'll talk about it when you're older. That is just so wrong. He just didn't know how to have the conversation. And I really appreciate our high school teachers and the teachers throughout the district who are getting educated on how to carry on those conversations, and the parents and community members who are sharing tonight. It's so important that we honor each other, and I can't even, it's kind of unfathomable to me to think, I think the best thing that could ever happen to me is to truly understand the people who are around me, to appreciate who they are and to know their stories and to have them be a part of my life. And I think ethnic studies and the opportunity for these conversations and the critical thinking that Mrs. Reed has shared with us will be part of it, is going to change the dialogue. And so I really thank all of you for being here tonight. And for the people who spoke this afternoon, we hear all your voices. So thank you so very much. Dr. Pulver?
Yes, I would like to speak, but I would like to wait till the item comes up because I do think that is when the opportunity is for, at least for myself, to give the recommendation to the board through our process.
Great.
To all of you before you vote.
So that concludes the public forum, and you did a fabulous job of it, so thank you very much. And it's not 1 a.m. You were really fabulous at getting your message across in 3 minutes.
Much appreciated.
Really much appreciated. Not that we wouldn't have loved to listen to you all night long, but we do now need to move on to our consent items. We have several pulls, but so these are the items that we vote on that are mainly business items, normal everyday kind of dealings that, and if we have questions, we get the agenda on Friday. If we have questions, we ask, and if we want to bring attention to one of them, then we ask that it be set aside. But we're setting aside several, but we do have 10A, D through F, and I that we can vote on in as consent. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. So we'll take the vote. Oh, sorry. All those opposed say no. Okay, it's a 5-0. Thank you. I've got to get into this mode now. So the first one that was pulled by Mrs. Hill. It's 10B, approval to submit 2021 summer school application. Would you like to speak to that, Mrs. Hill?
I'll first move.
Okay,
second.
thank you.
So yes, thank you for allowing me to speak to it. I just was so proud of our district when I saw this on the agenda, and I know that this year, probably more than ever, we really need a very robust summer school program and a recovery program for our students. And there's something you might have heard about, something called learning loss. And in the last year, we really don't have a gauge on it yet in the sense of, because we don't have testing. We do testing and benchmarks in our district, but from a state and from a nation perspective. But there's no doubt that there certainly is a gap. And so I was just really glad to see this coming forward. And I know that a lot of our teachers, it will depend on how many people that we have that can take the time and work this summer to how much we can extend to our students. And I know the teachers have been through a tremendous year and a lot of hard work, but I also know a lot of them are they're all very dedicated, but dedicated to also making sure that we make up this gap as we go forward. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate that and appreciate this item being brought forward, and for us to allow to kind of highlight that as well.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. The next item I actually pulled, this is 10C, approval of an agreement with Overdrive Incorporated. Do I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
Okay. The reason why I pulled this is that I'm going to just read this first part. The SOAR student reading app provides students with access to a collection of ebooks and audiobooks for independent reading. The app also provides a connection to the Orange County Public Library System digital collection. I think it is such an incredibly wonderful opportunity. So many libraries are closed, or we're all it's such a crazy world and we aren't getting out there. Students are more isolated. Many people have been impacted financially. This is an opportunity for kids to get books easily accessible to them at no cost. And I just think it's such a wonderful opportunity, and I hope the word spreads on every campus, because it is a great chance for them to have access to books that they choose to read. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. Okay. We are pulling item 10G. It will be brought back in a future meeting. It was approval of filing of notice of completion with Ben's Asphalt Incorporated for parking lot improvements at Los Alamitos Elementary School, and we will address this at a later date. The last one that was pulled by Mrs. Catuli. It's 10H, approval of an agreement with Able Coffee Roasters as a work site for adult transition students. Do I hear a motion?
Move.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go
Want to
ahead.
speak to it? This almost reminds me of when you get a new car and you go drive your car down the street, all of a sudden you see like 15 cars exactly like yours. And I had actually read an article in the Orange County Register about Able Coffee Roasters and being one of the best coffee roasters in Orange County. And then and they didn't mention anything other than the fact that their coffee was terrific. And then this comes on our agenda, and I started looking into it a little bit more closely. This was actually started by two gentlemen who were involved with teaching children with autism, and how they wanted, at one point they had the kids when their adult transition class would have a coffee cart and would sell the coffee items to different people within their school site. And then they'd make whatever money they make, they go on a field trip. And then with COVID, this whole thing fell apart. And they were talking, and they thought, well, why can't we bring this out to an even larger venue? And they were able to get a site really close to Golden West College. It's on Edinger and Golden West. And they have great coffee, according to the Orange County Register. And our adult transition students, which are our special ed students, not on a diploma track, but will be with us until the age of 21, will have an opportunity to work there and train. And I just think this is a phenomenal chance for our students. This is a great opportunity, and I am going to go there and try their coffee because it's just supposed to be so dang good. So I just want to go, yay, our adult transition students.
It is great. Would anybody else like to address it? Okay.
I don't drink coffee, and I'm going to go.
Good. I love coffee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We now move to our action items, and 11A and B are being combined. There are board policy revisions that were presented and discussed at the last meeting and are just up for approval now. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. Now we're on to the one that I think people are waiting for. 11C, approval of a new course at Los Alamitos High School, Ethnic Studies, Cultural Experiences in America. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
So, Madam President, tonight we are bringing forward this item for your approval. And it is our staff's recommendation that you do approve this course. As many of you know, this has been actually something that's come up a bit organically, as well as though it has been discussed at our school sites and has weaved through in and throughout fabric of different aspects. But certainly last spring and summer, I think it was the late spring, we heard from several of our families and from our students here in the boardroom who really shared with us some horrible experiences that they have had to live through, and really many of students or former students, and some reference some of the social media posts as well. And one of the things that I think really came out of that was this request for the district to really consider a course of ethnic studies. And I think if you look at the title of the course, Ethnic Studies, Cultural Experiences in America, I think sometimes people have thrown out certain fears about what the course is and what it isn't, and they jump to conclusions in that process. We heard recently that we've been taking this fast. I think there's nothing but the opposite. And in fact, for those students who we listened to last spring, they would have hoped that the course would have been open for this school year. And it really occurred over 2 board meetings where we listened. And I want to really, I think, give credence to the board and the current, it was almost the current board. There were 2 other individuals who were at the board at that time, who then asked at the following board meeting for us to have a discussion from the board's perspective of whether or not this is a course that we should entertain for development over the course of the year. Mrs. Reed gave a presentation as what is our normal process to add a course. And I don't know why we would go through any different process that we have for any other course to add to Los Alamitos High School than this course. And so we spent the year going through that process. If people say that it's been fast, we added a course last year in terms of sociology and sports and journalism that actually probably got approved went through all the same stages, but it got approved faster than this course. We approved a financial literacy course in the same exact process. And I don't recall people coming and saying they didn't know about it, wait, stop, pause, you're going too fast, et cetera. That we really actually have gone through a very thoughtful process. That this course is, I did pledge to our students, because at that second board meeting when the board did charge us to, as staff, to look forward to really spending the year in developing this course. And so when we had other peaceful students really coming in a, I don't know if I'd say a protest, but a demonstration to really voice their concerns here at the district office. And I can remember meeting with several students and former students out in the quad for several hours, really sharing their stories with us and with me. And at that point, this board had already said they'd given us the charge to really develop this ethnic studies course over the course of the year. So we did pledge that this was something that we were working on. It is something that we do here recommend. It is a course, like all of our elective courses, we really believe in student demand scheduling. And so we want to offer a myriad of opportunities and a myriad of classes that are of interest to our students. Now, is every student interested in computer science or fire technology? No, but are some? Yes. Should we not create a course simply because not everybody's interested in military history? No, we should, but because that is a course that is of interest to some of our students, and In order to, we have to have interest from our students, which we clearly do from this course, which we heard over the course of the last spring and into now. We also have to try to find a staff member who is willing to engage in the professional development to be able to lead this course and teach this course. If we didn't have someone willing to teach financial literacy when we created that class, we wouldn't have been able to offer that class. And that's why there are a series of steps that Mrs. Reed will once again share with the community about how a course is created. And so tonight, really, we are fulfilling the wish that the board had advised staff to really spend the time to work with teachers, to work with school site, to go through our normal course development. And I do think it's been a thoughtful process. It's been an engaging process. It has not been something that has been silenced. It's been pretty public at all of our board meetings. Our board meetings are on YouTube as well. Again, we've gone through the same process. I don't know why, if this is an interest of even a few students, and if we can build the class, and why would we not create this curriculum? I actually think it's going to be the interest of several students, and I can't wait to see how many students are interested in taking this course. And the one thing I know, I bet you, the military history class that was created several years ago is not the same class that it was today, that things evolve over time. Fire technology has evolved over time. Principles of engineering, I'm sure the teacher has refined and perfected their class. I'm guaranteed that that will be the same thing should the board tonight formally approve the adoption of the course, which is Ethnic Studies, a Cultural Experience in America. It is our staff's recommendation, but I have asked our Deputy Superintendent, Mrs. Reed, just to give one more. We gave a pretty thorough update at our workshop at our previous board meeting. I do think that was one of the steps that we tried to be thoughtful in and really explain that before the board approved it. But we do want to give an opportunity to give a little bit more of a highlight of the process and what the course is, because I think there's also some misinformation out there as well.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Pulver, President Davidson, members of the board. It is my pleasure once again to review the process of our proposed course, Ethnic Studies, Cultural Experiences in America. So this will be a year-long course that will earn a student 10 credits towards graduation. It'll be open to our 11th and 12th grade students, and it will serve as a G college preparatory elective. So this course is not being brought forward as a graduation requirement or a required course. It's an optional elective course for interested students. And so currently at Los Alamitos High School, we do operate under student demand scheduling, as Superintendent Pulver mentioned, and we currently have over 100 electives that we offer yearly in March and April as students sign up for courses. And so I did put up here just a sampling of other courses that also meet the G electives: financial literacy, sociology, psychology, AP European history, TV and film production, principles of engineering, fire technology, introduction of computer science. This is just about 18 of the 30 that fit in just the G box. So our students really do have a wide range of electives from which to choose from. None of these courses up here under G are required high school graduation requirement courses. They are a course that a student could take to meet the G of the A through G electives, or a course a student could take simply because they're interested and have a passion and have a period open in their class schedule. Our proposed outcomes for ethnic studies, cultural experiences in America are really fourfold. Through historical documents and historical interpretations, students will be able to discuss their identities, including race, ethnicity, culture, and nationality. Describe the ways in which these categories are socially constructed and how they affect a student's lives and the lives of others. Participate in grassroots community organization, and explain the dynamics among internalized, interpersonal, and institutional oppression and resistance. The Pathways to Ethnic Studies really has been over a year in the making. Back in May and June of 2020, and we did listen to the voices of students and parents who came forward, and the board did share at that time the desire for us to partner with the staff at Los Alamitos High School and begin the embarkation of a journey to develop a course which many other districts across the county are currently operating or also currently putting into their course catalog. June 23rd, 2020, I did give a pretty detailed presentation to the board on a workshop about the pathway to add a new course to the course catalog at Los Alamitos High School, but I also provided at that time an ethnic studies course overview, as well as overviewed the current classes that other neighboring districts were offering at the time, to really just give an example of the possibilities that existed when we talked about really also a diverse framework of what ethnic studies could look like. And so we're bringing forward an introductory class that really is based on cultural experiences. Then between July 2020 and January 2021, we engaged in the course development process. I see I have a typo there. So it says recess, but it's supposed to say process. And so on the next slide, I will quickly review that process. And then last board meeting on February 9th, I did present the board a workshop on the proposed course and went into the details of the current framework that's set up under 8 units of study. And so it really does start, like all courses start, that are going to be added as a course at Los Alamitos High School with a curriculum idea, and that goes back to June 20th, 2020. The department discussion then grew this December. The course description was developed, and we engaged with our faculty through Faculty Forum Curriculum Committee at the high school, where the class was brought forward and approved. Then site administration and department chairs at the high school also reviewed that course. School Site Council, which is, as we know, a group that's composed of classified employees, certificate employees, parents, community members, and administrators at the high school, also approved the course. District administration here internally and Ed Services began a review of that course. And then we did an informational workshop last meeting on February 9th to really bring forth a formal information item to the community, really signaling that we'd be coming forward tonight to the board on February 23rd, seeking action of board approval on the proposed new course. From here, we will, if the course should be approved, we will be working to further define and develop the course curriculum. That course will also go for further evaluation through the department and the administration. We will be seeking UC Doorways and NCAA clearinghouse approval for the course, so that our students who do seek this for the G part of the A through G will be getting accredited course, as well as our scholar athletes who need that NCAA clearinghouse for these units earned. When that process is completed, we will simultaneously be engaging in another process. So I know we've heard some comments about the curriculum or textbooks. We haven't yet brought the curriculum and or the textbooks forward. So right now what's been developed is the framework for the course. And so we will also be coming back to the board to seek action on proposed textbooks and supplemental materials for this course. And so through that process, the community will also have an opportunity to engage in public comment. So typically we would put those on board preview, and 30 days later, we would come back from an action item. Mr. Fayette?
So the textbook approval, how would the community find out about it? Do they have to go every week and look at the board agenda, or where would they find that?
They would find that on the board agenda. That's absolutely correct.
Thank you.
After the textbook supplemental materials have been on a 30-day community preview, then we would ask the board seek approval for those items to be added and really complete up the summation of how this course will be formed for the next school year. We are looking for approval tonight, as we would like to add the course and its name to our course registration and curriculum book, as students will be engaging in the selection process of courses for next school year, beginning in the first week of March. If the class is to be approved tonight, this is just a quick rundown of next steps: completing the course evaluation, seeking clearance from UC Doorways and NCAA, coming forward for approval of textbook, supplemental curriculum, really doing some advertising to students as well. Typically our counselors come out to all English classes at Los Alamitos High School, talk about new courses, as well as review the curriculum handbook. So we'll be looking for some alternate ways, and our guidance counselors at the high school have already rolled out some initial videos walking students through what registration will look like this school year. And then in the end, we would add the course to our registration and curriculum handbook. So thank you for your time.
And I just want to reiterate, this is the same process that we would go through for any other course that is being added. And then the simultaneous pathway of getting the course evaluation approved, the textbook, the supplemental material. This is the same process we would use for any course.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Reed, and all of your team and the teachers that have been involved. Thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Pulver. Do I hear a motion for approval?
We already.
Oh, we are, okay, sorry.
So
Is there
we're
any other
discussion.
discussion? Ms. Catulli?
Okay, I would like to address my remarks mostly to the people who either want us to forget this idea altogether or to slow down on it. I want to reiterate, it is an elective. It's not a requirement. Our electives are students driven. If we find out no one signs up for this class, then no one signs up for the class. I don't think that will happen, but if it does, then that takes care of that situation. This is the study of ethnics, not racism. A lot of people brought up the whole racism part of it, and that is not the goal of this class. That is not what they're looking at. We're looking at this culturally, and we're looking at it through the lens of ethnicity. We are not the first district in Orange County to have this class. In fact, I kind of wish we were a little bit further along in the process of this. Had happened a couple of years ago, but I am proud that we are doing it now. The State Board of Education is looking into developing an ethnics class, and we have no idea if they will mandate it or not so that it becomes a graduation requirement. I like the idea that we are able to be reflective of our community and to get out of the gate ahead of time. We're passing it now, as like what Mrs. Reed said, for the timing so that the students can take it next year. And then I really want to thank Mrs. Reed, her staff, and the high school staff. People, this is the year of COVID. A year ago when we were talking about this, we still hadn't figured out how to do LaSalle at home. We were not really sure if we were going to be having kids come back hybrid at any time during the school year. Our administrators have been working so hard to get any type of semblance of normalcy back into our classroom. And then we said, and we also want a new class. So Mrs. Reed went through the steps that she needed to do, and her staff helped her. And the high school staff stepped up too and participated in it. Again, during the year of COVID, I am so appreciative of everyone's extra efforts because everybody's doing so many extra efforts every single day in the classrooms or at their desks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mrs. Hill?
Thank you. First of all, thank you to everybody who spoke, and thank you to everybody for being so civil and passionate about your feelings, but also respectful of everybody else. To me, that's a huge leap forward in where we are in this world. And that I also believe that we also are at a place where we need to learn how to have civil discourse again. I spent the weekend with my eldest son, and he's about to turn 33. It's very hard for me to believe. LaSalle grad. And one of the things that he has said to me multiple times, he's very successful in his career, and is that he learned at LaSalle to be a critical thinker. He learned to take different pieces of information and to do research and to figure out what he felt about those things, and to be inclusive of various ideas, even though he may not necessarily always believe what was put in front of him. He was able to learn how to think through that process. And as he grew and developed, his thoughts grew and developed, as all of us do. And so that's really what we want to do here at LaSalle, is create those kinds of critical thinkers. And if we don't have opportunities for students to start having that kinds of discussion, then we're just going to teach them by rote. And we certainly don't want to do that. And I think that there's a fear out there that we want to indoctrinate our students at LaSalle. And I do not believe that with any part of my heart. I believe that there's differences of opinions, and that's what this country is supposed to be about. I also want to reiterate exactly what Mrs. Catulli said. This is a choice for a student to take a choice. And so if a parent isn't comfortable maybe with their child taking this course, they don't have to take this course. I also believe that we haven't even gotten to the materials aspect of it. I had a conversation with a woman for over an hour yesterday about that, and I kept reiterating, we haven't brought the materials forward. We don't have a textbook approved. Parents are going to have the opportunity to look at that, to see what those materials are going to be. And it is not unprecedented for us to make adjustments to those materials. Mrs. Reed knows. We went with Family and Life. I think, as she reminded me today, we went through 4 iterations before we got to a place where our community said, this is what is right for the bigger picture. And so I really don't even believe I heard anybody say that they didn't want this course. They just didn't understand, is what I really believe. And hopefully today, more information has been brought forward to them. And the people that are concerned can now know that they can stay abreast of what we're doing and when the textbooks come out, and they can be able to review them. And I promise to, probably much to everybody's chagrin, I will make sure that I really am very versed in what those materials are going forward. So we'll all need a copy. Thank you very much. So I just, I feel very strongly about this. And number 4, I think that this is one of the things that probably some people can react negatively to, and that's institutional oppression and resistance. And I think really what our goal is to take and uplift all, not just one, not just this group or that group, but all. And that we can do that by all working together. And that's what I think that meaning of that is, at least it is for me. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Of course, thank you. Mr. Forehand?
Very quickly, we received many, many emails and phone conversations, but one sentence in one of the emails really hit home for me. Ethnic studies allows all children to learn the histories of others and bring about greater understanding of people. So I too support this effort, and I thank you, Andrea, for your leadership out in the troops and the high school teachers, everything. Thank you.
You did a great job. Without reservation, I say yes.
So I already spoke, so I just wanted to reiterate that, first of all, if we pass this, the teachers asked that the board be in support. I can guarantee you have my whole heart behind what you're doing, and you can say that to the world. And I can't speak for everybody here, but I pretty much think you could tell by what they had to share with you, they feel the same way. We don't vote for things and not stand behind our decisions. Just real quickly, one of the concerns that was voiced by several people was that we need more focus on academics. We need more focus on science and math and English. And the Stanford study showed that when you have an ethnic studies program, an effective program in a high school, it not only raises the overall GPAs of students, more units are completed, more students are college bound, and their grades go up because they feel a part of things, because they feel engaged, because they aren't fearful, because they feel that they are part of a team, a body, a family. And when we define what ethnic studies is to us, it isn't about shaming any one group of people or looking at history or because earlier today, people at the workshop kind of identified this feeling that there would be a group, white people, that would be shamed and that we would victimize people of color. And that's so far from what I perceive the purpose of an ethnic studies to be. It's to give us an understanding of each other, to build connections and bonds, to help us to appreciate each other. And I think when Dr. Patak talked about his 3rd grade daughter coming home so excited because she was learning about all of these different lifestyles and foods and cultures and beliefs, that's what we want, a celebration, not any kind of shaming. And I think that this district has always been very diligent about what goes on in the classroom. As a teacher, I knew that my books had to be approved. What I did would be questioned, and we have people walking through all the time. This will be a class that reaches out and gives opportunities to do what Mrs. Catulli and Mrs. Hill and what we've all said is to have critical discussions that are important to us. And so I'm very excited about it, and I think we're probably ready to vote.
Yes.
All those, do we do a motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. Yay. Okay. We are now moving on to 11D, action item, approval of the 2020-2021 single plan for student achievement, and Mrs. Reed is going to address that.
And Davidson, we're bringing forth our 9 SPSAs as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll move approval as
I'm sorry.
presented.
Did I get ahead of the game? No. Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank all of the principals for the amount of effort they put into it to prepare these. If you really delve into it, they have some great data. It's just, as a board member, sometimes it's a little time consuming. But it is, I think they're very interesting and they're a lot of work, and I really appreciate the principals taking the time and effort to do these.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Forehand?
quickly, I just was overwhelmed by reading them. They were 66 pages long, some of them, but I too, Meg, thought the disaggregation of the data gives the school their next step as to continue to make students achieve. So thanks to all the school sites.
Anyone else? So I'd just like to say thank you to each and every school administrator and team member involved in it. They were over 60 pages, and for anybody that might still be listening to us, it is a great tool for seeing how your children are assessed, and then what tools are used to analyze that assessment, and then the school takes that analysis back and adjusts its teaching. It tells about all of the staff development that the district offers in order to meet the goals and objectives of learning, our standards. And it is so much work to put this together, but it's full of a lot of information that really validates what goes on in the classroom. So I thank you.
Dr. Pulver, are they, do we put them on our website?
Our plans typically do fall under our website. Sometimes they'll go into one hub, or they'll be by each individual school. Also, the plans, just a reminder, it's there in the board item, have been approved locally at each school site as well by the school site councils of each site as well.
And I do think that they're also a great resource for parents that are looking and making decisions about where they want to send their students and what's best for their students as well.
Excellent. Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. We are now moving on to item E, adoption of the 2020-2021 budget calendar. And Mrs. Scalise, you're going to speak to that,
Yes.
please?
Thank you, Madam President. Per Board Policy 3100, we are required to adopt a budget calendar that addresses important timelines for the 2021 fiscal year as well as the entire 21-22 fiscal year.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Just thank you very much. This was one of the first things I learned when I came in as a board member, and it was really helpful to me to understand what has to be done when. And so I also know it's a lot of work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. And item F is approval of warrants. And warrants are the bills that we pay. It's gigantic. It's, if you look at this, it says $1,463,461.02. That's for this period right now. And so if we have questions, we have that given to us on Friday, and literally we go through and ask, what is this that you're paying a certain amount for? And we get a very detailed, excellent explanation. And it's kind of ironic with 60 pages because often we will all pull the same one out of curiosity. So do I hear,
Also move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Now comes the fun part, acceptance of donations. This is 11G. These are donations from the community at a time when people are struggling, so we're deeply, and we don't have the same fundraisers, so we're deeply appreciative. As you can see that Oak PTA, a family donated, several families have donated money, and I love the 26,000 protective masks from the Tooling Express Incorporated for the high school.
That's nice.
That's very helpful. I'm sure you go through masks fairly fast. The total amount is $2,393.52 for this month, and the total for the year is $291,253.51. So that's fabulous. Thank you so much. Do I hear a motion to approve these donations?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. We're looking for approval for our classified and certified personnel report. And Dr. Frazier, would you speak to that, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm bringing forward both of the classified and certificated personnel reports tonight as presented.
Do I have a motion of approval?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. Now we're moving on to communication. So this is where board members get an opportunity to share some of what they've been doing in the community or something special that they would like to share tonight. So Mrs. Hill, you want to go first?
Certainly, and I will be brief. I know that's hard to believe, but we've all had a lot of conversation this evening. So I was part of the Safety and the Wellness Committee, and it was Dr. Freeman did a great job. Is he a doctor? Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Freeman. I had that right. Okay. It did a great job. I just call him Jerry, but I wanted to be more, respectful. He did a great job in conducting that, working in Zoom and breaking us out into small groups and really helping us move some things forward related to some of our policies and our best practices in our school related to really a lot of it had to do with the how we utilize food within our schools and our systems and so on and so forth. So that was really great. And then I was very sorry that I missed the special education meeting. They flip-flopped them. So this one was at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I do have a 9 to 5. So, but then the other ones they'll do later in the afternoon, and then I always get to, I really appreciate being part of those. Very, very passionate parents about supporting their children. And then just a quick reminder that it is almost the LAIF fundraiser, February fundraiser, something like that, is almost complete. At the end of, we will crown our king, I believe, on Sunday. And so if you haven't had an opportunity, please find a team to support. If every family did a $50 donation, we would get to that shortfall that LAIF has fallen into this year because of everything that's happened. So, and if you have the means, do an extra $50 for a family who can't afford it. So that is it for me for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Forehand?
Yes, and I will be brief too. I had an entire page, and I'm going to highlight 3 things. First of all, I got to represent the board at the the Weaver ambassadors, as they donated snacks to the ER unit at Long Beach Memorial. And it was so heartwarming. And those ER people were fabulous with the kids, and it was just great. I represented the board again at SELPA. I'm getting to know SELPA, and I just want to thank our district for having the best technology system for meetings, because SELPA is still a little bit struggling with how they operate their meetings. But again, I think in all the visits, and I'm almost got to every school, I have Oak to do, but I think today reiterated with me how the teachers are taking everything to the next level during these COVID hybrid times. They can't get their kids. Today at Weaver in 4th or 5th grade, we saw a technology program that I wrote it down, something about the iron or something. Anyway, they were able to use this and let the kids collaborate, whereas before they get together in small groups. Well, they can't do that. So now they're separated, yet they're collaborating via technology on discussions that they're having. And then after that, I went to Lee School. I was invited to read 2 chapters of James and the Giant Peach. And I thought, okay. And I had to do it flip grid to, it was just way too much for an old man like me. But the thing was, in talking to the teacher, in a normal time, they would use this strategy of visualizing and verbalizing about what they were reading in the classroom, and she could monitor it. And now she figured out a way to do it virtually with her LoSal at home kids. And that to me is taking a big step forward. So I appreciate all that effort. So thank you.
Mr. Fayette?
Also in the consideration of briefness, I went to Weaver, incredible. The schools, what they've been able to do just blows me away. They're doing a fantastic job. Cross country, awesome. They went from a season that was supposed to be 4 months. They are now into their 8th month with stops and starts and not knowing what's going to happen. They just did their 3rd race at the high school. The kids look great. I even saw 2 out of the 150 kids smiling while they were running.
Oh, wow.
I have some notes here from Mark Celestin, but I think I'm going to save that for next time because it's past my bedtime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cattouli?
Okay, I have a lot, so I think I'm just going to speak really quickly. First of all, we have 3 students who are National Merit finalists. There are 1.5 million students who take the SAT test, and to become a National Merit finalist, it's down to only 15,000. So I want to do a shout out to Mackenzie Fick, Amy Lamb, and Corinne Tiffany. You go, girls. So very proud of those girls. I had an ROP meeting, and the big announcement from the ROP meeting is that Dana Lynch, who is our Assistant Superintendent of North Orange County Regional Occupation Program, was our Administrator of the Year for North Orange ROP, and was the county's Administrator of the Year. And it's just been announced that it is the ACTE State Administrator of the Year. So he was just kind of like our own Dr. Pulver. He's made it through the line. So he's up to the State Administrator of the Year. And naturally, we want him to go national. So we'll just see what happens with that. I walked through LAE and then through the high school. Fabulous experiences. I attended a PTA meeting, and so did Scott. He skipped that. I just want to give a shout out to the PTA Council for including the principals of LaSalle at Home, Rick Larson and Ken Lepore, and I think it's added a lot to that particular meeting. I was on an Orange County, California School Boards Association Orange County delegate meeting, which we were discussing budget reopening and school funding. And what we found out, which I thought was kind of interesting, is Capistrano, to the best of our knowledge, was the only district in Orange County to try to apply for that early reopening grant that has gone away because it hasn't passed through the legislature. So it's like they filled out this paperwork and got their MOUs and all that kind of stuff, and then it's like on somebody's desk. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. The next thing I want to speak about is I want to make a big deal out of this. I think it was mentioned before, and Dr. Pulver just kind of shushed me. Well, no, you did. I know you didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I am making a big deal out of it. He is part of a group of people who were recognized. The Orange County School Boards Association has what they call the Maureen DeMarco Award that they hand out. It's supposed to be on a yearly basis, but we do not hand this particular award out every year. I think it's like every 2 to 3 years where we finally get this, we find a group or person worthy of it. And the Maureen DeMarco Award recognizes an individual or organization for exemplary and far-reaching leadership in addressing the broad needs of young people in Orange County. And this year, by unanimous vote, the Orange County School Board Association decided to give it to all of the superintendents in Orange County. Since COVID first started, our superintendents have been meeting weekly. And they do that to navigate and share and examine the work and the decisions that need to be made during this still ongoing pandemic. They all work closely together, realizing that each district is also a little different, and each district will customize their handling of this ever-changing rules, regulation, and guidelines that are just part of this pandemic. The Orange County superintendents prove themselves to be steadfast and flexible advocates of education for all of the children in Orange County. And we couldn't even figure out a way to get it to every district because so many of them are online. So on behalf of the Orange County School Boards Association, congratulations to you, Dr. Pulver, and all the other superintendents.
Yay. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's the okay, and now I'm done.
So I'm just going to close out quickly. I'm actually tired of hearing myself. So there's just one thing that I really want to acknowledge, and it kind of goes along with what Meg just said, and that's that that was an honor, a big deal. When Long Beach sent over the assistant superintendent and his team to see Hopkinton as an example of how to keep schools safe during COVID, how we can open up and make it possible to not have to shut down again and give kids an education in a classroom. I think that was just a tremendous testimony to what you and your team have accomplished and what the teachers and staff and administrators do every day. And I just thought that was so exciting and wonderful. And actually, I think it's very helpful, and the rest of the world should be coming here and seeing our schools. And then the other thing I want to say is to the community, thank you so much for being diligent and responsible about the masks, about social distancing, because the last time I checked, last night's dashboard for Los Alamitos, out of our 8,000 or more students on campus, our hundreds of staff members, we have 9 positive cases out of almost 10,000 people. That people are astounded by it. Even those who thought it would not be safe, that we could not do this, and that we would never last, are saying, okay, I was wrong. You guys pulled it together because of the way that you handled it, the way you set it up, the way that you managed and provided all of the means to keep kids safe and the staff safe. So that's all I want to say. Thank you to the community for doing what you're doing and not bringing COVID onto the campuses. And thank you to our district for everything that you've done. And with that, we are going to adjourn this meeting and go into closed session.